Cloud. Hey, everybody, welcome to more Apeshit April with the Cash Game Study Group. We're going to look at big pots and bad decisions. First thing here, just looking around, what should happen in this hand is 10 should raise and everyone should fold. But that's not what's going to happen, that's for sure. As we go here, 6-8 raises. This is way out of GTO, way out of GTO range, but theoretically, the thought behind it isn't crazy. You've got something which is like a suited connector, so you can play it. It's a gapper, but the gappers are kind of connected, and 6-7 suited is in range, so why not 6-8? He's not so deep that this makes a lot of sense. The deeper you get, maybe the more sense this makes, although you have reverse implied pot odds on your flush. But he does it. The 8-6 should fold, and he does. 10-10 should come along with mostly calling and some raising. Is that right on the button there against this early position? Or mostly raising? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
I think it mostly mixes.
It's
Yeah,
mixed.
it's gonna mix. It's gonna mix, but majority raise or majority call in GTO world. Anybody want to take a stab? I
Majority
say
call.
There's no reason to guess.
I'm gonna
It's
look
just
at it.
mixed.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need to know exact percentages. That's just showing off.
All right, good enough. It mixes. He calls.
However,
Yeah.
if you know how loose villain 22 is, that's where I take the mix and I go towards 3-bet.
Absolutely. These hands are going to be out of order because we're only looking at the biggest pots, so we don't have any kind of read on his range. And we don't know if villain 25 had one at the time. But he calls. And this is this. Yeah. Mostly calls. Great. There we go. This should not go broke. There's some bad play about to happen.
Maybe
here.
straight over, maybe flush over straight. That's the only thing I can think
Could
of.
be. We'll see. We'll see. So, bets out. This is a mistake in GTO world, not the bet, but the size of the bet. This is not a big bet board. Is that true? Yeah, but yeah, EP against this should not be a big bet board with this pair. This should be a small bet board.
So frequent and often
yeah.
is what we're doing.
Well, you do a lot of checking out of position in the whole world. So you'd look at before you even see the flop, you'd say, I'm going to be checking half the time-ish, and let's see what happens. This hand can bet, sure. This hand can check raise, okay. This hand can check call, sure. But I think the big bet size is bad. Let's run that just to make sure, just of that. We don't need to look at the rest of the hand. But would you put that in, Larry? Just that much of it?
Sure.
I just want to know about the board. Because there's two competing things on the board here for me. The pair should drive the frequency, that should drive the size down, but the flush drawn straight draw could drive the size up, and I want to know which is more important. All right, so he calls. Sure, that seems great. Aha, that's what's going to happen. Hits his flush. Bets 3/4. 10 should fold. He's drawing to a straight when the flush is already on the board. He's got full house outs. He should fold anyway. And there's his death. 44 big blinds in the pot. He checks. He bets giant. And there's the call. This seems, we can give the 6-8 suited the 6-7 suited here and play it out and see how bad it is.
Yeah, there's no way. After being checked 2 on the river, I think the 10 can bet, but I think it's more reasonable being like around 33.
Yeah, the all in is making him only get called by flushes, full houses. Okay, so maybe he gets another 10 off a chop, but he blocks that so hard. So yeah, that seems
Right, 9 of hearts, 9 of clubs, queen of hearts, right?
Let me see, Sharon.
9 of hearts. 9 of clubs, queen of hearts. Alright, share. Look good?
Yep. So here we are with 6-7 of hearts, which already we know never leads.
Yeah, so what are we doing with these low suited connectors? We just really don't.
Well,
Yeah.
put it
Bet.
over 7-6 suited.
Yeah, you'll see it's the hearts
There,
that
there
does
is
it.
some betting. Is
Yeah,
it
but it's-
hearts that's betting?
Oh, yeah. It's only the hearts that can bet. But mostly even they mostly check. But he bets, and that's not terrible. But the size,
Yeah, it's low. You were right. Just a small bet board.
yep.
What are we doing with all our flush draws? We're just mixing.
And I assume when we,
Flush draw
I think
nuts.
I'm going to assume that when we check them and get bet at, we do not check raise them.
Okay,
I think we
Ev-
check call them.
I see something here. Every flush draw, except for 7-6 and 8-7, have mixed sizes or
Mhm.
checks. 8-7 suited and 7-6 suited are only small and check.
Right. But the overcard lets you bet big.
I'm wondering if it's because they connect in the backdoor straight.
No, because the ace doesn't.
So we got, I mean,
No,
so
what
we
do you
compare
mean,
combo
what
draws,
ace?
right?
All of the aces have two sizing
Right.
in the bets.
Oh, you meant the 6 and the 7 don't because of that.
Yeah, this 8-7-6 and this 8-7 suited are only small bets. Every other flush draw is mixed bets.
The Jack 10 has the straight to go already, the big straight to go with it, and all the kings have the backdoor straight. I think it might be the overcard that does
But
it.
So this is
Well,
just the
6
combo draws.
6-5 suited does it.
Oh, 6-5 does? Okay, then I
Yeah.
think,
Every other flush draw except for those two.
yeah, let's look at the 6-5 and the 5-4 real quick. Yep, it's got,
And the only thing I could see is they have backdoor straights to the underside of the queen 9.
okay. Good observation. Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
drawing to the stupid end of the straight means small pot.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying, Joey?
I wouldn't bet the stupid end of the straight for the straight, but if the solver is doing that, that is my guess on why it's only those two that do not have a 50% bet option, and it's only 33%.
So if I want to simplify that observation, I could just say if it's paired and there's a flush and you have a draw to the stupid end of the straight, just check. Can I get away with that?
yeah, yeah,
So can I simplify
that?
it like that
yeah,
as a rule?
that's a good one. And here, you know,
No, that does not work.
okay,
Are you in
Okay.
position? Are you in position or are you out of position? Was it a 3-bet pot or a single raise pot?
in a single raised pot out of position
Yeah, that'll work.
with you as the better.
Okay, so
Yeah.
for a simplification, I could say on a single raise pot out of position, if you have a draw to the stupid end of the straight and it's paired and flush draw, then you can just check.
Well, in this texture, you can check all of your range, right? I mean, there's a checking component to every combo that you get here with.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there's no
Even
high
across.
bet, is what I'm saying.
All right, and Max had a couple of questions in the chat that I just saw.
There were more statements than questions.
10, he was asking the 10-10 with a 10 of hearts. It'd be nice to block the hearts, but I still don't think you're going to bet that big.
You get a little bit more
The 10 of
betting with
hearts
the
is
10 of
betting
hearts,
more.
but not much really.
Yeah, no, I think he was referring to the river when he gets there. It's like it'd be nice to block the flush, but
So what did our villain do?
he's referring to the turn.
All right, our villain went large, but I don't think we have a large option here. I think maybe 50% it'll get us close enough, but it won't break the.
Yeah, the larges are,
They're all around, blocking are around the trips.
Yeah.
And I have a
But they
heuristic
really have a
question too. I wanted to straighten up here on the flop.
Hey, Mike, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
sorry, I was gathering all the stuff before I was able to speak. You had, Scott, you had mentioned that this is probably, you said the connectedness and the flush drawiness would drive up. You said it would be a little bit more bigger betting. And I disagree. I thought it was going to be, that's going to drive your betting down. Like, for example, turn that queen into a diamond or whatever, make it a rainbow board. Then I think you're going to get a little bit more bigger betting. But this particular board will never get like 75%. Like, it's going to favor the smaller sizes. Is that right?
Let's see.
So
It,
even with
yeah,
rainbow, it still stays small.
it
Yeah.
might have to do with the fact that, paired nature of the board. I mean, especially where they're
Yeah,
contesting the nines. I think they both have a lot of trips. Like if you look at ranges here, and then you look at trips.
because this came up last week too, where there was a similar board like this, and I remember somebody saying that it could be a big bet board because of the flush draw or the straight draw, whatever it was at the time. And
Yeah.
then it said it again, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that this is just strictly kind of stay small, half size max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that was right.
So I'm very
Paired-
unsure that that's
Paired
what,
boards, paired boards are almost always an indication that the bet sizing is going to be smaller.
yeah.
Yep.
You can see, I mean, trips obviously are not a large part of either's range, but they have an equal number. You know, they're about
Yeah.
2.5% of each range that gets here. So it makes sense that, you know, if it's contested nuts, essentially, it's gonna drive down sizing.
Yeah.
If we go back to the heuristic Jonathan gave in the master class, to have a big bet on the flop, we need range advantage, nut advantage, and the opponent has to have connectivity with the board. Paired boards usually indicate low connectivity because there's fewer cards for the villain to have in his range that hit the board.
Yep. And Max typed that in too. Exactly that. One of the things that I still don't know is I thought that Jonathan was saying on dynamic boards, so boards with a straight draw possible and a flush draw possible, that those keys push our bet size up, you know, in extent without any other information. So everything that yes to everything you said, but when you look at the difference between the same, you know, whether it's rainbow or flush draw, the flush draw tends to push it up. And I know that Matt Affleck said the opposite was true. And I was spending a long time trying to look at a lot of boards to see this, and we didn't get a clear answer. But I just saw Jonathan's statement on it again. So I've gone back to that point.
Where did Jonathan say that? I don't
Uh,
remember.
yes, let's see. He said it
I don't
on,
remember him saying that recently. That was something he may have said like 2-3 years ago.
could be. I thought I saw it specifically on the Ace King video that was just released. That he talked about dynamic boards betting larger.
Was it a paired board?
No, the paired board is what's pushing it smaller. So that was the thing in my mind. Paired board pushes it down. The dynamic nature pushes it up, which is controlling, which is more important. And what I see here is it doesn't ever get to 75. There's more 33 than 50, but there's some 50 there. So there's a tension between those two things going on.
Right.
And in those ones, we do not have the nut advantage on this board,
Or the range advantage.
or the range advantage. Yeah. So anyway, we get to here. You can give him the 75 because we know he played weird. I want to look at how bad the 10s played it. So give him a 75 on the flop. It doesn't break the solver. He has 75. Because that's what he bet, right? 10s call.
Tens call.
Yeah, he bet 5.
Tens start folding if you have neither.
Yep, but they can call.
Well, no, 10 of clubs is diamonds and spades.
We have diamond club, by the way. which is a high fold board. Yeah, you just fold without the 10 of hearts more. If you have the
Oh
10 of
yeah,
hearts,
it's every combination without a heart. You
Yeah.
you start folding.
but he can call and he does. You know, I don't think he made a huge mistake here.
I wonder if the jacks and nines are happier calling more than these under pairs because
Well,
they have
odds.
backdoor draw to a straight, or is it because they're just better hands?
Wait, well, the nines are quads. So you meant just the jacks. You meant jacks compared to tens.
Yeah,
Jacks are-
I meant jacks and tens and then the eights and below.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
They
wonder
have-
if that's why we
have
get more
draw.
calls up in this region, or if it's just because of hand ranking.
Yeah.
Alright, so B75, he calls. Problem is that he's gonna lose all of his suited connectors here. He's not gonna have these suited connectors if we use this sizing. Cause this just isn't in the,
Yeah,
if we go here. He just doesn't use this sizing down here. So.
Yeah.
It might make sense to use this
But
sizing, so he
he
doesn't
doesn't-
lose it.
he doesn't use 50 either.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
he does a little bit with the
but-
smart suited.
But the reason we're moving the 75 is we're looking at the 8-6 of hearts played this hand wrongish, you know, on two streets. I just
Okay.
want, you know, I just want to see what the river is for the tens.
Alright, that's fine. We can do it both ways.
Yeah,
So
Well,
turn
Scotty,
is the jack of hearts.
you're just looking for pure numbers, but one of the issues when we bet big is it reduces the GTO range more than we saw would have reduced the villains range.
Yes, that's
So so tens on the river is betting into a slightly different range of hands.
that's true.
So this equity shifting card just results in a pure check, right? I mean, so much got there that our entire range is gonna wanna check, including our quads here.
How much did he bet on the turn? About half?
He bet the turn bet was bigger than half. It was 3/4 again, 13 into 18.
Yeah, so
That
So
bet
we've
does
broken
not
this
exist.
over. All right.
let's just go to B50 real quick and see if that changes anything.
My B75 was clearly the wrong analysis. Call. Jack comes.
I still don't think we're gonna have a lot of bets because this is just such an equity shifting card to what his calling range is.
Yep. It's
Yeah,
all in the world of check raise.
yeah, so well, let's just see if he does, what he does check raise and then we really can't get this solved to
Yep.
finality here because
There's still a
this
sliver
tree
in,
doesn't involve, this
There's
8-9
still-
bet.
part of the tree doesn't exist.
there's still a sliver in bet 50, so it won't break the solver.
Bet 50 and bet 33. So let's take our sliver.
Alright,
And now the tens facing this.
so what are the tens called, right?
Yeah. And I think they've got to be a fold here.
Definitely without a heart.
Yeah.
Quite slow today.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a clear.
There is a sliver.
There is. We
sometimes
can
it's
get
close.
there. We can get there, but it's clearly a mistake
Yeah.
in solver land. And I claim a mistake in the real world too.
So we're drawing to 2 tens. Is that what we're doing?
Say what?
We're
Well, no,
down to
he
2
was
tens or
drawing to a
9 or something
straight.
like that?
He's got a open-ended.
Yeah,
King
he's
of
open.
spades was the river.
Yep. And unfortunately he made it straight.
And he checked, right?
Yeah. Jack with a flush.
So let's just see if he ever checks a flush. Filter. Flush. He's
Yeah.
got a little bit.
Hmm.
We're in a pretty low frequency part of the tree.
Yeah.
So does he paired board, flush available? Yeah, it just gave me the warning. This never happens.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just mostly supposed to check back. He can sometimes bet. He never chooses, he can bet sometimes with his flush blocker.
Yeah.
But he never chooses shove.
Okay. Great.
But
And then
if he does bet this big, let's just take this out. So if he does bet
Well-
322
There was a shove in there
for the tens or for the whole solution?
for the whole solution somewhere. Cause
Okay, do you want,
I'm wondering if under the gun to a shove, if under the gun, what his calling threshold is with a flush.
all right. So he's
Mixing.
yeah.
he just doesn't have very many combos to get here, but he's beginning to he's got 3 combos to get here. He's bluff catching. He's indifferent on a paired board with his nut flush draw, which is the only one that gets here.
And he doesn't want the straight because he wants the guy to be he wants the guy to be misbetting a straight is the narrative I put in my mind. Why the 10 folds.
Well, king 10 calls full.
Does. King 10 overstraights him. Oh no, King 10 doesn't overstraight him. King 10 blocks a full house. One of the full houses.
Yeah, so I mean, we're just in a really small part of the tree here.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so the straight he does get here with, he calls it a small frequency.
And before we leave this solve, Max had a comment here. Maybe this is on the flop, I assume. Maybe it's worth looking at the Queen X part of the range to reflect on who has more Queen X and how vulnerable Queen X is on this flop. What percent of gut shots and open enders are in both sides range? That was a Max question. So that seems worth looking at here.
Okay, so Queen X.
Yeah.
So he bet 50. What is button doing with his top pair? Not folding quite yet. And then
And very little raising.
call.
Larry, go back to under the gun before he acts and do the range check.
Range versus range.
Yeah. And then go down to see equity buckets, make that not simple. Does equity buckets ever give you like one pair hands?
Yeah, you gotta filter it. So if you go to, I mean, you can filter it here, right? You go,
Yeah, but that doesn't do range versus range, does it?
it does. So I think it does. Clear. What it does is it goes, if you go top pair, it shows you where it is by
Oh,
making it
okay.
highlight. And then it changes this number. So you can see who has greater.
So under the gun has
Better
many
equity.
more top pairs than,
Yeah. This number is the most, when you're using this filter, this number is the most important. Because this is telling you, okay, well, how many combos in my range do I have? Absolute. And then what percentage is that of my range? So they have the same percentage of
yeah.
top pair as their range, but obviously button has a much more condensed range, so it only has 8 combos versus 37. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, Max, he does have more. However, the total percentage of range is of top pair is about even.
Okay, here we go. All right. Excellent. I'm gonna steal it back unless
Okay.
is there you wanted to show, Larry?
Yeah, stuff share.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Next hand. What should happen? King, queen should raise. Ace, jack should mostly fold like that. And when ace, jack plays, I guess it should be a 3-bet and not a call. That's my guess. Let's see what happens.
I think you're
King,
right.
queen limps.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a fold. Let's
Yeah,
just a pure fold.
I would think it's a fold too. This is pre here. Here we go. Button. Yeah, look at that. There it is. It's a fold. but there's your idea. That when, if it's gonna play, it should play for a raise, and you really want ace queen at that point. I don't think you need to find this 4%. Yes, against people who have been, who are raising 60% of hands, ace jack becomes an easy 3-bet. Okay, there's the limp. Ace jack can now not fold. There's the squeeze. Ace jack should fold to this. And my reason for it is going to be wrong for this hand, but he should.
Yeah, I think you can fold ace jack.
So my reason is, in general, but not in this case, the raise range from the low jack here is missing the bottom of it that it would have because of the limp. So when he ISOs, he tends to give up some of the very bottom of his range that he would have opened and just go, why bother? Now, this guy did the opposite.
Our
This-
aggro villain with the big stack is certainly widening his ISO range.
Yeah, very much so. And maybe this guy has been a systematic limper up till now, so he's going for the ISO for that. But either way, in general, the ace jack is marginal against these raises anyway. And against an ISO raise, I think you should go tighter.
Let's guess who's going to lose their stack here. Is it the limper or is it the big stack aggro?
I think it's going to be the limper.
I think the limper is going to overvalue his king.
Yep.
I think Button is going to overvalue. Oh, he folded. I thought he was
No,
going to.
Button is a genius, whoever he is.
So I think our limper is going to
Nope,
okay.
there we go.
Someone's going, yeah,
All right. This is egregious.
that is egregious.
Egregious, and I don't think we need to say why. Okay, let me open up the chat window there, just so I can see it.
Now the question becomes, for me,
Yeah.
with this aggressive ISO on a pretty good flop, I mean, how hard do you go here? Multi-way when you're in position.
4. You bet 4. Let's take the basic multi-way thing we learned from DTO until we learn something better.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
When we get Prometheus, which we'll do later in the summer, I'll do a month of Prometheus. We may change our minds, but right now, this is an easy bet for him, and it should be 4 big blinds, 4.5 big blinds. He goes big. And this should be over. There should not be a big pot.
Uh-oh. King of spades, ladies and gentlemen. on
These guys
turn.
have history against each other, maybe? Or maybe villain 29 is terrible. One of the two. How does this happen?
Did you shove here?
Ugh. I don't know.
King of spades on the river.
No.
No,
That was
it's
enough.
king, and he doesn't give up. Yeah, and the king, and it's villain 30 who gets his ass kicked.
Our aggro,
And in this world, not that the king should ever be here, but if he's here, he should not fold.
well, let's look at this hand for a little bit. Obviously, this is played very poorly by villain 29. But villain 30 can, there is this argument, well, I'm at the very bottom of my range.
Mhm.
I should triple barrel. But I'm curious what you guys think of this. I mean, why does he call this off?
Oh, he doesn't. He folds here. He folds. Oh, no, he
so-
does. He's
What the?
You
What
are-
are his pot odds? Out of curiosity, can you go back
He
one?
has the nut low.
I know. Maybe he was playing Raz.
All right.
Calls it off for 6%. So the question I have is villain making a good triple barrel here? And I'm not, I mean, we could be results oriented. I'm gonna try to get away from that. And try to understand what he's attempting to fold out with his triple barrel.
He's trying to fold out 5s, 6s, 7s.
Yeah, he's trying to fold out middle pairs, I guess, like fives
Better
through
flush
tens.
draws, better straight draws.
No, no, well, flush draws and straight draws, if the guy's there with it, he blocks the flush draw, he blocks the straight draw, but if the guy's there with what straight draw? What straight draw on the flop?
The only thing I could think he's
Ace
trying to
three.
fold out is an ace high. Like ace ten, ace four, ace seven.
Well,
something like that, ace 10.
assuming that any one of those with a draw is what he's going for, he also could be trying to fold out ace four and ace three. They
Yeah.
could have here.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can also argue, well, I have this kind of hand that doesn't really block his flush draws that much, considering the action pre. So I'm not worried about blocking flush draws here,
Okay,
but he's double blocking, right? With the five, he's blocking both draws. I'm not sure if I'm just trying to elicit some opinions from you guys as to whether you think this is a good triple barrel, because I'm not sure.
Typically, we don't triple barrel a front door flush draw from the flop.
Yeah, you're right, but I wonder if he is thinking my flush draw is low enough that I'm unblocking his busted flush draw. Yeah, I think this, yeah, okay. Yeah, this might, I mean, I'm not trying not to be results oriented, but this might be a little bit too crazy.
and
I mean, also on the turn. Alright, cuz villain 30 raised pre-flop.
Yeah,
He
so
went-
so he's repping obviously
He went
whatever
into
nicer
his
range
hand.
is.
I think his bet on the flop should have been about 50%, not as large as he went.
I think it should be 33, go on.
No. Any board with a paired two, we tend to size up just a little bit more than we would if there was not a two on the board.
Yes,
So-
but I think, but I'm gonna say that I think the multi-way is more important than that, but go on, because we don't need to know the difference.
Okay,
I just wanted to put that idea out there, so both ideas are in the.
in the advanced cash game course, Jonathan did say in multi-way pots, the range of bets for a flop is 20% to 60%.
Okay. Good enough?
So with the pair two, I would be closer to the higher end of the range that Jonathan gave.
Makes sense, since nobody can have a two. Statistically,
So he uses what, like a B60 here or something? B70?
No, I think he's more like 75.
Yeah.
It's too large. I think it should have been somewhere around 6, maybe.
okay,
And then, okay, and then he gets a call, a ridiculous call. Here.
And then the 3 of clubs is not a good card for him to barrel on. It's not good for his range. So I'm not even sure if he should be betting the turn.
so let's give him aces. I'm sorry, let's give him kings.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't block a straight, let's give him kings. With kings, you could bet here with the kings, you could bet here kings,
Yes.
so that's what he's repping.
Yeah, he's repping like a pretty, high pair.
And I get he has a gut shot to an. All right, yeah, this isn't bad.
And he
Double
turned
gut.
equity, right?
He has a double gutter. Ace gives him a straight and 6 gives him a straight.
Okay.
So he has a lot of outs.
So he did end up picking up equity, so he can double barrel.
Yeah.
But now his flop bet should have been smaller, but this one should maybe have been a little bit bigger.
There we go. And this, the craziness of this, and I guess on the river, he says, you have 5s, you have 6s, you have 7s here. Those hands make sense. Not only do I have to bet big enough to get you off them, the king does hit my bluff range because I have ace, king, and king, I have
And
ace.
also he's,
Yeah.
at the bottom of range, not low, as Mike said.
Yeah.
And he is unblocking like 10 jack spades or.
Yeah.
Queen 9 of spades, whatever.
Yep. So the bet on the river,
I think this is all right.
ambitious, is, the sizing on the other two is debatable. The pre-flop is debatable, but this bet on the doing a bet on the river, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
this is all right after, talking to you guys about it. I think this is acceptable.
Right.
Triple barrel.
So Max says that that his bet on the river has to be bigger. And I'm thinking here that this is bigger.
No,
54.
I think he mentioned that for the turn.
Okay, you're going an overbet on the turn. Right, okay. The river
Maybe if
bet,
you overbet the turn and he continues, then you give up river.
yeah, he did mean for the turn. Yeah, okay, great. And Mr. Frosty says, with the flush draw triple barrel, feel like we need a better flush draw that blocks the king X, queen jack suited. I like better.
Well, I think that you want to unblock those because you want to
Yeah.
unblock auto folds. You
Oh,
want to
yeah.
unblock exactly his hand, which is an auto fold. onto
Yeah,
it.
We have a perfect example of a loose passive player here. He limped this pre-flop, called it. That should never have happened. And then he called both bets with 2 overs. They do that all the time. In their mind, they still have a chance to hit a pair and win the hand. Some loose passive players hate to fold if they still have any chance to still win the hand. This is why over betting them or betting large when you polarize on the turn makes sense, but you would do it with slightly unbalanced range to exploit, because they're going to call, so you don't want as many bluffs. You want to unbalance your range towards value.
right. This
Against
particular,
loose passive
yeah, this
because they're
particular,
overcall.
this particular hand having the extra 6 straight outs. So he's got 15 outs going. He's got 15 outs, and actually he's got more.
Can you go back to the turn real quick, Scotty?
Yeah.
So, all right. So here, maybe a more appropriate line would be like a B125, or maybe even a B150, and then give up when
Yeah.
he calls that size.
Well, a bet pot size is close to 2E.
Yeah, that's true, but I think you're
And
really
it'll
trying to
leave-
elicit folds here, right?
Huh?
I think that's true, but I think you're really trying to elicit folds here, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, at this moment, right there, I start furiously taking notes.
All
All right.
right,
There we go.
thanks.
Yeah. I think we covered everything in the chat.
All right.
Let's see. Ace 7 should raise, queens should 3-bet him, and Ace 7 should mostly fold to that 3-bet.
Yep.
All right. There's the raise.
Ace
There-
10, 3 bets.
right? That's way too wide.
Yeah.
I think queens can start to
queen-
fold here. Even. Queens are even 3-bet or fold here, I think.
I don't think so. I think maybe jacks. I think queens is just too good. I
I
think
could be wrong. I think that's what happens when you have
Let's
this.
run it. If we run this in GTO with a open and 3-bet,
it's gonna take.
I'm willing to bet that queens at least have some folding. I'm pretty sure.
So
Oh.
like if we do like a UTG raise and then is that like the equivalent of a
This is where 9-handed he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so he's low jack -1. 1, 2, 3.
well you
4.
have 9-handed
Low
ready
jack
to go,
-2.
right? I'll let you do
Low
it.
jack -2.
Because you
so-
have the nine-handed configuration up, right?
Low
It's
jack
under the
-.
gun 1.
Yep, that's what I did. There he is. And then the 3-bet comes from the hijack, whose range, by the way, that's. If you did this and said I was doing it for a reason, I buy it, but this is just so far off.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that's egregious, but he does it. And now the small blind with his queens. He mixes folds.
I told you there was some folding in there when it goes 3-way.
You're right. I mean, and the jacks play some and the tens play some. I could lose all of these bluffs for the rest of my life and be a happy person.
No,
I don't need to learn these ever. You think I
I
need?
am, I am never not for betting with ace five suited.
All right,
I might miss those slivers of the suited connectors, but
I can
ace
live
five
without ever
suited has
learning.
blockers.
I can live without ever learning this. How about that much?
I think it really
Yeah.
depends on your player pool, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
100%. Yeah.
I mean, if you move all these slivers of bluffs into ace five suited, it's almost full then.
Yeah, I'm okay with doing it that way. All right, here we go. So the queen's call, which there is no calling range.
yeah, that's naughty,
That's just a bad play.
especially out of position.
Yeah, conceptually, he should just be thinking out of position is bad. Out of position against two players is doubly bad. Do not play this. Do not play this pot. in
I
this-
think what's the size? It's like a 21 or 22 big blind.
when he does it, he's going to be out of position. I think he's going to go 20.
I'd go to 25 here because I'd go steal like a 2.5 because he uses a very large three bet.
No, it's only it's 20, but it's 20 relative to the north.
7.5.
7.5.
What do you
So-
guys think? I think 25 here.
Let's see. 7.5 to 20 is 2.7.
But
Ish,
his three bet was large.
right.
Yeah, so
So I don't know if you have to respond with such a large four bet. Cause it's almost 3x over the 7.5.
Yeah.
But since his three bet was already like 4x, I don't think you multiply and go like 3x over top of that.
No, you don't need to go to 30. You don't need to go to 30. Well, it wouldn't be 33 because this is 20 over 7.5, which is about 2.7, right? So 2.7 on this is going to be is 22, is 29, 30. So going 24, 25. Yeah,
Yeah.
Max is in the same 24, 25 range. All right. Yep. That's what we think. We think this is the worst of the three choices. And he should fold.
who is going to stick around?
I see why he doesn't. We can't check it in a solver because the queens have no calls. Do the big blind have any calls? Can the big blind call? Even the big blind can't call. So,
Can you check it at 150?
no, I can't.
Although-
I don't have that. I only have this size, but I
No, you
can,
should.
I mean,
Oh, for 9 max,
I don't
okay,
have
yeah,
mine.
that's right.
Let's go six max and 150 and put him in the low jack. and
Although I still don't think.
Yeah.
Small blind still doesn't have any calls in this one.
Doesn't have any calls. No,
Small
Oh.
blind.
blind has no calls. Yeah, so it just doesn't exist. But note here, when you change this guy to under the gun, the queens do not want to fold anymore.
Yeah, wider ranges.
This could be because it's six max. This could be because they made different assumptions.
Yes, that's true, Max. In position, you just have to go slightly more than 2x the size of the three bet. So like he made it 11.5. In position, if you go to like 22, 23, you should be fine.
Okay. Good. So the solver won't give us an answer to this. I think this is a really good fold here.
And it's a clear fold.
I mean, if he wants to play it with the mindset of I fold an ace to the second bet, I only lose one more bet of an ace, and I'm only playing for my flush. But yeah. Right, and now
Yeah,
I
but
just don't
who-
understand how is
who
it going to be
gets
flush
stacked
over?
in this one?
the ace 10 is either gonna hit his flush on the river. And this guy's gonna go broke, or he's gonna overplay. So queens should check. They do. Ace seven should check. Ace 10 should check. Duh. Okay, that's what happens.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
And it's the ace who's going to lose all his money. But I predict he's going to lose it in the worst order. He's not even going to wait to get it in. That's 14 to get value from a flush draw, to get value from a flush, to get value from a six. Yep, so he goes for it there. There's the jam. There's
And
the
he's
call,
like, damn it.
and he gets there anyway. Oh, it's not even a jam.
He's drawing dead.
He's trying to and when the queens click it back.
Yeah. So let's go back here and look at that situation.
Queens bet 14. He goes to 46. They click it back and leave themselves with 8.
So is this a tell? So leaving so not shoving and leaving a little bit behind. Is this a nutted tell? You guys?
A 3-bet on the turn itself is a nutted tell.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
But is this in addition another nutted tell?
Ooh, let's see some more examples before we find out. I don't have an opinion.
I think this is very much a nutted tell of.
Yeah.
I'm not shoving. I want it to look a little bit. I don't want it to look like a shove.
Let me
I
get
think
it.
this is a nutted tell,
Let me get it as small as I can. Okay.
leaving a little bit behind.
And now, there we go. So another big pot, big mistake. And the queens are rewarded. Which, by the way, if the queen's 4-bet pre-flop or fold in this situation, he never gets the money. Everybody has to fold to it. All right.
Oh my god.
Well, this is pretty easy to figure out.
We've seen this hand before.
Pocket sixes win.
No, this is just gonna go. This is gonna go free. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is just gonna go pre-flop.
So this is an interesting spot. Okay, so I like your size. Yeah, we've seen that. We looked at this
Yeah, we've seen this
hand
hand.
before. Yeah, I like your sizing hand.
The theory size is 12, 16, 24, 28. And I'm being overly cute. Yeah, this is there's your nutted tell right there.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes it not as terrible is his opening size being extra big, being so big. The size of the pot is appropriate. 36, there's the nutted tell. There's
the second nutted tell.
just ridiculous. And he goes, well, it is or it isn't, and we're done. Okay. Yes, sixes would have won. Okay. Same thing is about to happen. All right, now queens do a lot of folding here.
Yeah, against this early.
Against early, queens is gonna be way shook.
Well, it's in
You're
position.
gonna have to go to 9 max.
Yeah.
It might be different in position.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think it's gonna 4-bet more, actually, is my thought. 4-bet fold, maybe even.
You have to put in 100 big ones.
All right, here we go. Oh, sorry. Go to change 100, 9 max. Everything is good. Raise, let's go back to our opening size 2.5. Although in this case, it is 2, right? He actually does do a 2, I think, just for this one hand. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but the 3-bet was large too.
Yeah, 3-bet gets it up to there. So let's do the 2.5, 7.5. There we go. And on to Mr. Button.
Oh, it still mixes.
A lot of queen, a lot of that, and no calls. Not a call in the bunch. So he goes with the
Worst option.
worst option, which last time paid off for him.
Well, we don't know that's the same player.
No, we don't. Last time paid off for them. We also don't know their gender. So
This is an interesting spot for kings here.
yeah, they This should keep the pot small, but it's not going to.
So what I'm thinking is when this guy flats behind a 3-bet, I generally don't think they're this far up in range. I generally think this is middle pairs that are set mining.
When is it right to flat a 3-bet and not 4-bet?
Very rarely.
We have not seen a case where the solver allows it.
So
Well,
I can never call a 3-bet just like 4-bet or fold.
Unless you're the initial player. If you're already in, I'm sorry,
we
Joe.
have not checked the very low rake solutions. In a low rake solution or no rake, calling might be an option.
Because I play timed games.
Very different.
In a timed game, then refer to the
Chip
pokercoaching.com 8 max, because 8 max is not raked.
Right, that's this tool here. Cash charts, poker coaching. We love poker coaching. Cash 8 max poker coaching. I believe that these are not available to the public. You have to be a poker coaching member for them, I believe.
Well,
Okay.
do the cash game multi-way, because this is multi-way.
Yep, cash game multi-way. 8 max, stack size 100. We get let's just do an under the gun raise for fun. And let's get a re-raise from this situation.
And then look at the button.
Yep,
You
there are.
got to fold everybody
Oh,
before
you
the
can't
button.
just click to it? Yeah, you can.
No,
Look at
no,
that.
you got to fold everybody.
Oh, I do. Okay, fine.
I think so.
Nice shot.
You're
I
not
broke.
supposed to blank out like that.
No, it's not. One more try here.
Poker coaching go boom.
All right. Cash game multi-way. 8 max, 100 stack. Let's do a late raise. Raise from the hijack and a re-raise from the cutoff. So the widest you can get there. The button still has no calls.
It's just not a thing. It's
Let's
just
go to
not a
the-
thing.
Yeah, and the
Okay,
big blind doesn't have it.
If
Yep.
you're already in, like say you
Oh, if you're
open
already
with
in,
someone
lots of,
3-bet.
oh yeah, lots of calling. Absolutely.
Oh
One
yeah,
thing to think
say-
about here, Derek, is
If-
that if your hijack is an aware player, he knows you're capped. He's going to be incentivized to 4-bet much wider and throw you off your equity.
Yeah. See, look at that. You have lots of calling. It's the cold 4-bet. It's the cold 3-bet call that doesn't exist.
Ah, okay,
I-
okay.
Yeah, no, lots and there are a lot of times that you raise, get 3-bet and call. All kinds of hands.
But also, now make this a 200 blind stack. That might change it to have some calls too.
From the other thing. Okay, let's do the same situation. We'll do
Yep.
raise, 3-bet, and the button. Nope.
Still
button
no
doesn't do it.
calls.
And now let's see our big blind. Can't do it that way, but I can fold.
Fold the
I
small,
can fold all the way to the small blind. Yep. There are no cold calls of 3-bets in the world for now.
Okay. That's
Simplify your
very
life with that.
interesting.
Yeah.
So I
a
can live
good-
my life with never cold calling a
A 3.
3-bet.
Yes, you
and it's
can.
either good enough to 4-bet. It's either good enough to 4-bet or it's not good enough to play. Think of it that way.
Okay.
Because you're up against 2 uncapped ranges. Both of these
On-
guys have aces.
unless the big blind is a super fish that's still likely to come into the 3-bet, and you want to play in the hand against the big blind.
And you've got aces or something like that.
Oh, 4-bet that too.
Because I had
Don't-
an interesting
don't-
hand on the weekend where I had kings under the gun and I raised and we get like 5 colors. Someone pops it to 65 and I make it 225. We're about like 1,800 effective stacks.
Mhm.
So is that too big?
Yeah,
No.
you only have to go like a little bit over double his size. So if he wants 65, like 150 might be good.
Yeah.
And then everyone calls?
Well, you don't know everybody's going to call.
Yeah, you're right.
And if everybody calls, you're probably not winning the hand. You have the most equity going into the hand, but most of the time you lose it. Just most of the time they lose it.
Uh-huh. As long as they're putting in money bad, I'm happy.
Right. That's
'Cause I
the
can
thing.
handle this. I can handle the variance. The variance means nothing. So
Yeah, you just have to be careful not to get stacked with one pair in a 5-handed pot.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no, I'm
you-
not going in like
You're a dog to the field.
500 big blinds with one pair.
You're a dog to the field. All right. So so on this hand,
Although
The
someone
kings
did
have
that.
some betting here.
yeah, kings can bet out, kings can check raise, kings can check call. He's only against one player. The player has to have aces, sevens, or tens, you know. So he bets.
I think that might be a bit large.
Yep.
For
And
the
I think
board.
the
I
queen's
think
hanging.
this might be another one where the solver will do 33% and 50%.
Yeah,
So
we have to pair.
frequently and small is what
Yeah.
we're talking.
Right. Like to point out. Oh, no, it wasn't. I thought this was the ace seven hand. No, I thought the other guy was in there with ace seven. Okay, there we go. The ace, this should stop everybody.
Oh, ooh,
Spikes it.
ooh.
Well,
No,
that
that's
made
not
life
the
easy.
way to go.
That made life easy. Just check call.
Or if,
Yeah.
or if he's going to bet. Like, cause, villain did check the turn, like villain 34 did check the turn.
Yeah.
If he had an ace, he might be likely to double barrel. But if you want to lead there, you got to go with a blocker bet, something like 15-20,
And fold to the shove.
25 at the most, and fold to the shove.
Right. I think that he thinks that this is for value.
Yep. He's
I
betting
think-
for value.
that
I
he's-
agree.
I think that he thinks that he's up against jacks, specifically jacks.
He's thinking Vegas on the Mirage.
No, he's not. Not thinking that good about value. He's thinking thin value and a thick bet. Because he's not, I don't think he's trying to bluff a guy off an ace. I don't think he thinks that's going to happen. And this call here, so there's the raise. So that raise is,
That's just a click back.
yeah, but I mean, what in King's mind is going on here?
You
That
might have a
raise-
7.
Yeah, he could have a 7, he could have pocket 10s. And he's beating jacks and queens right now. And it's probably not aces, but it could be. He gets the check from aces. And he's upset, but he gets the check behind. So this is great. So it's not a 7, probably. It's not aces, but 10s beat him. What 10 is there other than ace 10, which isn't there, which beats him? 9s and 8s don't play this way, but they fold. So this bet here is I'm trying to get max value from jacks specifically.
Yep.
Or it's not
Targeting
a,
jacks and 9s.
Well,
yeah. And
you
that's,
can't 100% say ace 10 is not there. It is not in the charts.
right.
It
Not there.
should
It's
not
not
be
there.
there.
It's not there a lot, and it's not there in this order, but it also doesn't fold very often here. Does it? Does ace 10 fold here?
Huh?
Does ace 10 play like this? Does ace 10 check back when he hits his 2 pair? Thinking maybe now I have a 7 after the raise? Is that what it is?
Some percentage of the time.
Okay,
I don't think they bet 100%.
okay. So you think he's trying to bluff off ace 10 and get value from jacks with this bet?
You see, my generalization, and this goes back to when I played poker with Dan Harrington. Always assume at least 10% they're doing something they shouldn't do. Like if he has ace 10, you always have to leave at least a 10% chance he's going to bet, or he's going to check if he's supposed to bet.
Okay,
So,
so you want to try to
that's
bluff a
what-
guy off ace 10 here?
No,
If you have pocket kings,
thi-
you want, right. So this bet,
these kings are such a horrible bet. I'm not saying that to make the kings bet even better.
right, okay.
I was just mentioning when you said he doesn't have ace 10. And in population, that's not true.
right. Like I remember reading Harrington on Hold'em. That's what he said. Dan said that.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna lose some money. Hopefully not 100 big blinds. Tens should raise, ace jack suited should do some three betting of it, and I'm going to because it's spades, so I'm in trouble. And then aces come over the top. And
Can you
maybe
call with ace jack suited there?
no,
Yeah,
I get it.
I like calling with ace jack suited and ace 10 suited there.
But you also don't like to have a calling range at all from anything but the button.
No.
So if you're gonna go with that simplification, this is a three bet.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna,
I'm still on the 3-bet plan.
yeah,
I haven't cold called.
yeah, this
I
is,
know it's not in the charts, but you're on. All right, hear me out. You're on in the cutoff. If you have reads on the button and the button is a nit, you could play the cutoff like you are the button.
Okay. I'm gonna add that to my
that
game.
expansion. You're absolutely right. And also, you could be in a game where you are playing a range much more like this. Let's go to how do you reset this in this? We don't click back on GTO charts. Maybe we just,
No, what are you trying to reset to?
go to the general charts thing. I wanted to get back to this window. And here we go. We are facing, this was
You
a
need your stack size, I think.
gun raise. Oh, sorry, not hero position. We are cut off against
Need
the
to set
versus
stack
the
size.
stack size. One.
Keep on going. Yeah.
There we go, 100. We are in the cutoff versus a raise from the under the gun. That is what we've got. And you'll see lots of calling in the non-raked game. So you could play a raked game like a non-raked game because, you think the button is not going to squeeze you, things like that. Yeah. But I'm not doing that right now. Right now, I'm doing this. And there it is.
And
And
also,
it is, so I do it.
I do want to mention that the charts should not really be treated like they are the Bible or any other holy scripture book you want to use.
Bhagavad Gita. Boy, did I mispronounce that.
That there are good suggestions, but you don't want to be a slave to the charts.
Right.
Sometimes there's always a reason to not follow the charts.
Yes. At this point in my poker study, I am working on learning the charts enough to follow them before I make deviating from them my standard. Still with reads, I should be deviating, but that's where I am right now. Also, so I can, for traceability, that's what I'm doing. But you're right. You should think of the charts as the Talmud, not as the Bible.
Well,
The
since
Talmud is a Jewish religious book that is filled with argument, not with standard rules. It's all the rabbis arguing about the Bible with each other. There we go. All right.
since last week, Joey, I've been on a pre-flop learning quest. Like I've been trying to do all the pre-flop quizzes on poker coaching. So I found that's been really helpful. For me.
Hey, go on, Derek.
And I've been like noticing how badly I play pre-flop. I think that's what it's taught me.
Yeah,
'Cause,
at your stage, I'm not really recommending deviating very much,
uh-huh.
but there's still times when you can deviate.
Yes.
Okay.
And it starts with learning what the charts say, and then learning when you can deviate. Under what situations do you deviate from the charts?
Yeah. I think we all agree that you should not be deviating from the charts until you know that you're deviating. You should not be deviating without knowing that that's what you're doing.
You have to know where the charts say before you can deviate.
So I have a reason to make this change. And
And
in this
Derek, just so you know, this is not in the charts.
this is not in the charts, but this is, yes.
And you have to be able to verbalize to yourself why you are deviating. It can't be just, I feel like deviating here. You have to be able to tell yourself, I'm deviating because the big blind is a whale and I don't want to chase him out of the pot.
Right.
or some
Or the
reason
big
like
blind
that.
is a whale and I want to keep him in the pot.
Right,
Or-
exactly.
Right,
to quote,
exactly.
and to quote the great Joey Pregler, it's not enough to say that I'm deviating from the chart because this guy's a fish. You need to say because this guy folds too much, or this guy calls too much, or this guy plays ABC after the flop. Just knowing that he's a bad player is not the reason to deviate to get in the pot with him. You want to know specifically what they do wrong, so you have an exploit in mind.
Yeah, I wish I did that on the weekend because I went on Raging Monkey Tilt on the weekend because there was this situation where I got to play like heads up against the mega fish. And the dealer was just sitting there, and I said, "Deal." And he says, "You know, you can't win the bad beat jackpot." And I said, "Deal." So I, for just that little thing, sent me on Raging Monkey Tilt.
That's a bet. That so we all have.
And so I get deuce 7 and bet it like an idiot.
Yeah.
And
So
I totally missed the flop and bet it like an idiot. And so,
don't do
you
that.
know, like,
There's some of the coaches and some things I believe on pokercoaching.com have some classes and things, mindset, that kind of thing, which I have never done and I don't want to do, but I probably need. And sounds like
well, I
somebody-
needed it right then because I played like the worst fish in the universe, right?
Yep.
Look at the Jared Tender stuff on pokercoaching.com.
Okay.
His stuff is fantastic.
I think I've read his book.
And I have to say, one of the things that has been a blessing for me in poker is my autism. Because one of the ways my autism shows up is I don't feel emotions to the same degree other people do.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
They're much more blunted for me. And therefore I don't really ever, it takes a lot to make me start tilting.
Well, I tilted for the stupidest little reason on the weekend, and it cost me like a couple $100, and there was no reason for it. Right? I was just tilting because I was mad at the dealer because they were thinking, why would anyone want to play when there's no chance of winning the bad beat jackpot? And so that threw me on monkey tilt, which is stupid, right?
Yep.
You
Don't
know,
do that.
like
again.
I agree that that's incredibly stupid.
And now you've learned not to do that again.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yep.
something that I say that I don't think Jared Tendler even said is that emotion is the first step of tilting.
Yes.
Happy
because
happy or sad, angry and confident, confident is there's happy tilt.
Yep.
There's losing tilt. There's drunk
I've
tilt.
gone on winning tilt. Have you
Yep.
ever gone on winning tilt where you're winning everything?
Yep.
And then you go on winning tilt and you think you can play queen 9 offsuit
Yep.
to a 3-bet or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. 7-8 suited has slivers of opens this early. King 8 is mandatory here. 1, 2, 3. Yep. King 8 is 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. King 8 is 100% here in the chart. And ace ace. So we'll see which of these guys
Well-
gets. Also, the 4-5 can get in there.
King
yeah,
8, if it
but-
was me, King 8 opens, 5-4 suited, 3 bets. Aces 4-bet and everything else should fold.
Well, that's not what's going to happen, but yes.
Oh wait, 7-8 has some slivers under the gun.
Yeah. That's what we said. We're not going to be surprised to see something from one of these guys. We just don't know which one it is. So that it's not that. So the 8's raise, the 5-4 I predict is going to call. He can do some 3 betting here, but he really shouldn't. He should just fold. And if you have a calling range, he can call here, but he should just fold. And he calls. So he's either playing a non-rake chart or he's not playing charts. But he does that. Now the aces should squeeze. The squeeze should be to 9, 12, 13, 17 it would be the standard, right? 9, 12
15 is this.
plus 3, 13,
15
16 and a half.
15 is the minimum based on the standard 4x plus 1.
Yeah.
Jonathan's is pot size plus 1.
Right. Yeah, I'm using Jonathan's rule. And if anybody out there doesn't know it, it's pot, it's the size of it's a pot size bet out of position plus another unit, which is another 3 big blinds here. Now if he does 2x pot, that's really big. Max says he likes the 2x pot here. That's really big. I don't know that it's wrong. It's not what Jonathan suggests, but
Well,
Since-
that's from Assassinato.
okay. Right. And then if he shaves it down because of aces, that's exploitable, but not on it, but it's not exploitable on ignition because you're anonymous. And he goes for very small.
That's way too small.
Right. He could get 2 callers with this, which is not what he wants. But he only gets 1. Good fold there. And at this size, with the dead money, 4-5 suited should call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that's call. All right. Goodbye, aces stack. Especially if it's the ace that comes that brings it in, not the 6.
Let's see how much he bets.
Right.
I want to run this because I have a theory.
I think this bet size should be between 9 and 13, and I think it should be 9 most of the time.
I'd size
I'm
His range
I'd
of
go,
it.
I'd
I'm
size up and go
wondering-
half pot here.
I'm wondering if because of the 2 on the board, if he ever does like 15 to 20.
Why would you
Percent
do
or
15
or
20?
big blinds.
Because of
Big
the
blinds.
2.
Okay,
Because
Can-
remember Matt Affleck said that when there's a 2 on the board,
Yeah.
you tend to size up a little bit.
right.
I mean,
But
this is
Because they don't have the 2 is what you're saying?
yes.
There's only 2 cards for them to hit is the theory. But the other, I mean, I'm repeating what you said in different words. Yes, exactly. They don't have the 2.
The only 2s he could potentially have are like pocket 2s or ace 2 suited.
Right.
And
So-
in this arrangement, though, with my particular hand, with a board that is generally dry, pretty dry.
No,
and
I would
it-
like to run. I would
yeah.
like to see if we could run this.
Yeah, the only problem is that we don't have this configuration, so we can't get, we can
Well,
only.
we could just do hijack versus small blind.
That's what it's gotta be. It's gotta be hijack versus small blind. Yep. Okay.
You could do a raise and a call from the button, possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It gives it, and he does have the 4-5 there. Yeah, let's do that. That's the best way to do it. Thank you. All right, and there it is.
Boom.
Boom. And what order do the aces lose their money?
He should
Big?
he should either go small or check with the 6.
Boy, that 6 feels like a blank to me. It isn't, but I'm in his position, that 6 feels like a blank.
Yep. He says a totally harmless 6 fell.
Yeah,
What
except
could
that
go
it brings in,
wrong?
except it brings in one of the back doors so I can get value from it and not give it a free card is his thought.
Exactly. That's what he's thinking.
And
But it brings in a straight, and you just have to think, is 5-4 suited in his range?
the answer
And
is,
if the answer is yes, you either go small or check.
yeah. Right, there he goes. And now at that size, I think aces just throw it in is what he does do. If he's not gonna fold. Yeah, he just throws it in.
we've looked at this hand before, I think.
Yeah, that one came up somehow. Yep, we did see that hand before.
Yeah,
Um,
we've solved this hand before. as
Oh, we
well.
have? Okay. Do you remember what the aces did on the
It-
turn?
No, but I remember that the 4-5 is not supposed to raise with the flush draw. His combo's
It-
supposed to slow play.
Can
Yeah,
we
he-
look at that really quick just for the flop sizing?
Sure,
And we just
Because
want, we won't go into it with any level of detail, but yeah, let's do that.
I think
it
we
up for a
might have
second,
some
please.
bets over 50%
Right.
here in this
Yeah.
pot.
And we're gonna do it as hijack, raise, button, call, small blind, 3 bets. That's gonna be the configuration. Okay,
alright.
I'm hoping we are not repeating any other hands here.
Yeah,
See if you have the smaller 3-bet option. I don't know if you would or not, but if you do, use the smaller 3-bet option.
Yeah, since he did make it extra small there. All right, this hand should go fold, 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 king 4 raise, fold, ace 7 suited. Mostly fold, a little bit of 3
Three
betting.
bet, 3 bet, 3 bet.
See how much.
Yeah,
3-bet.
I think we've seen this one too.
Okay. Oh, because it's spade over spade, spade versus spade. Yeah. Okay. Is it
Yeah, 'cause
possible?
we discussed the A7 being a mix, like a mostly fold, but like Joey's three bet soapbox, he's always three betting. I remember that discussion.
And yeah, you're right, because maybe I'm going in the wrong direction. Because because this is the last hand we had. This is the hand that we ended with last time.
Well, do you want to take a moment, look at the
Yeah, let's look at
hands,
it.
and I'll show the solve?
Yeah, let's look at it.
Alright, so. Hijack raises. Button flats.
What's his flatting range?
Buttons flatting range?
Does it have 5-4 suited in there?
It
I'm guessing
does.
it does.
Slivers.
Okay. But it's
And
there,
our,
it's the thing.
so, at this stack depth, they're supposed to go to 14. So he goes to 14. Hijack folds, button calls. What's his calling range, you ask? So
For suited call.
I recall this from last time. It's just interesting that we just get slivers down here, but 5-4 is really excited to call. I would think 6-5 would be more excited to call because it's going to cooler the wheel, but 5-4 is more calling more.
5-4, when it hits the wheel against the guy's ace. The guy has trips,
Yeah.
his ace king is there to get paid.
And this is a very common heuristic I see, is that 4-5, 6-5, 6-5, and 7-6 all are kind of in that group where all the other suited connectors fold.
Right.
So yeah, I think that is because there's less, I mean, we're just, our pairs maybe are cleaner
Way cleaner.
and we're just not interfering at all with his 3-bet range.
Well, the 9-8-8-7, 10-9 also might be blocking some of the 3-bet bluff range.
Yeah.
The 5-4 and the 6-5 do block the solver special bluff, but okay.
Yeah, it's a good point. So we get this, this flop. We are range betting. And when we called 4-bet, our range is so nutted that we're just gonna I guess also on this texture.
And it's not a
So-
cold bet, just to say it's a squeeze.
Sorry, it's a squeeze, yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do have a little bit of larger betting.
So we get quite a bit now. Well, what do you find that as B75?
Yeah, well, I was thinking like anywhere between 50 and 75.
Yeah, so we go big here even. What are they using game?
He did. Let's go back to that. He
I
went,
think he went under half, I think.
he went 8 point, yeah, he went 8. He did a 33, which is what I thought it was.
So he's gonna get that with aces. He's gonna get that with all his overpair. So if he B33. And our 5-4 of hearts. Is calling. 7-6 is not interested. Okay, so we call. It's not really that interesting and handy. Now, this is where it gets interesting, right? Because we get this repeat 6. I'm sorry, we get the 6 of hearts. And yeah, I'm curious if this does shut us down a little bit. I don't see this as an equity shifting card, but I could be wrong. It is quite equity shifting because we're checking a shit ton.
Take a look at the suits on the aces, kings, queens, if you need a heart. No. You like a
Yeah,
heart,
it doesn't really.
need it, you like it.
No, but
Um,
it does do a lot of checking and small betting when it does bet.
Yeah,
so I think looking at range before and after is not super effective because it does, it doesn't tell us much about the card. It just tells us about his filtered range, but I'm just curious here. So small blind is 55. He makes his bet. It's going to shift, but it's shifting because his range is filtered. So yeah, we're going to begin to be quiet, especially with these hands, I guess, that these overpairs are continuing to bet. The interesting thing here is that, as I mentioned before, last time we went over this.
Larry, check the range advantage before any betting was done on the flop.
Here,
Yeah. I like to just go from first action to first action. So
53-46. And then button,
and then after the 6, it flips almost exactly.
yeah, but again, I think it's just because his range is filtered, because, this is
Well,
now his calling range.
Yeah, obviously it's because it's filtered and a card that hits his filtered range.
Yeah, is this card really that good for his range?
It is for it is for his nutted range.
I mean, look, now the button has range advantage and nut advantage.
Well, there might be something going on here, because if we look at, if we look at nut advantage, I think that's what's driving this. You're right. It's nut advantage because obviously if you look at the top of range, right? So we're looking at small blind. Let's look at set and why don't I? Okay. This is kind of, maybe it's because we're on this. So if we go here, what size did he use here?
He bet like 3/4 of the pot.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say he should have bet smaller or checked.
So yeah, he should, yeah. He just doesn't have that size here. Clear, that's wise. Yeah, he just doesn't have a big bet.
Well, he does a little bit with aces.
Yeah, but the bid bet is 50%.
Yeah, there's
No.
nothing. This is not really a thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, his big bet is up to 50.
So if he bets 50, do we have any straights? We gotta have.
We have 4/5.
So
Yeah.
what's happening here, I think, is that if you look at ranges, and now we filter for straights, even though it's a tiny portion of our range, well, it's 7% of our range. The nuts is something that out of position doesn't possess. We don't have the nuts, but even at this small percentage, in position does have the nuts, and that's going to drive this behavior on out of position where we're going to begin to slow down. We just don't, yeah, and we can also see it, as Joey pointed out, we can also see it in nut advantage, right?
Yeah.
In position has a
Huge.
massive nut advantage at this point. And so that's all these factors are what is slowing us down. So yeah, his bet's out of control. I mean, I think the thing for us maybe to think about here, or at least for me to think about, is okay, so the 6 comes. Who's got does anybody now have the nuts? And the answer is I never have them. But in position does have them at very small frequency, but he's got them and I never do. So that's going to drive the reduction in our betting frequency. I mean, we essentially bet only
But
20%.
He bet and then the button raised.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
We'll look at that next. Well, he's only going to have a shove.
our SPRs are so small.
Notice it also at this point, his nutted jacks are just checking. They just don't need protection.
Yeah.
They don't think they need protection. And then also they're 22% to vote up.
Yep.
So yeah, this is just an it's an turn card. Okay, so he bet, and then the guy essentially will give him a shove, right? Which he's never supposed to do with his nuts, I would assume. So
No, he has some in there.
He does, but he doesn't do it with the hearts.
yeah, this is what we found last
Oh.
time. When he is nutted when he's drawing to the flush as well, he's not motivated to do this. And also I think maybe this is, well, he's not gonna have a 5 or a 4, so it doesn't matter. And I'm curious if he's gonna have shoves at some frequency here with the nuts. He's gonna have to have bluffs. And this is where it gets interesting because his bluffs are like king, queen suited.
Of hearts, I hope.
No,
Oh,
king,
just
queen these are his no equity bluffs.
right.
King, queen, blocking kings and queens.
And
Uh,
I'm just wondering if the aces have any folds after the raise.
Ace five, gut shot, blocking aces. Yeah, okay, so we'll look at that real quick.
I can imagine the ace five. I cannot find the king queen. I cannot imagine playing the king queen like that.
What I could find here, I think, is the king queen of hearts, which is right up here.
Yeah, I could find the king queen of hearts.
But these other ones, this one, but the other ones just seem ridiculous. Ace five of hearts, I could find that,
He's good. Yeah.
but the combo draw, but, so he bets 50. We'll have to give button a shove.
Yep.
And what does he hero? So my estimate is that aces and kings here are gonna like be winning 20 chips, 15 chips in EV. And I think that number is way larger than against what population is, right? I mean, these are bluff catchers. This is essentially a value call at this kind of winning EV. But I would argue that you really have to think about if your imposition villain possesses enough bluffs to make this a profitable call. Well, my answer would be that this is not often bluffed. That this imposition villain action is not often bluffed.
They don't have the king
What-
queen of diamonds there, I'll tell you.
The ace has a couple combos that are, the EV is a bit lower. Can click on ace.
Well, I think it's blocking bluffs.
With the ace of hearts, the EV is lower.
Right.
Yeah,
Ace of hearts, ace of diamonds.
it's blocking his bluffs. Blocking his ace high bluffs. His ace five, probably some other ones. The ace high five is the one we saw. So, anyway, we're supposed to hero from this region. We're supposed to hero, our overpairs.
Cool.
And top pairs.
And I had to resort, I had to restart the machine, so that's might be why we're seeing some of the hands again. I thought I did the same sort order and started where we left off, but maybe not.
No
This
worry.
Yeah, this next hand here, if I'm going in this direction,
Can I just ask the group a question about that last hand?
Yeah.
Cause I'm trying to be better about, hero folds. As Peter Clark says, to fold like a lion. Does anybody in the group think it's feasible or profitable to fold our overpairs there? When we get that imposition shove on turn?
Well, the thing about it is so much of the stack is already in the pot.
Yeah, pot odds become an issue.
Like, if it was deeper and his shove was like 2E leading to a river shove, or I mean, his raise was at 2E, then yeah, then I think he basically only clicked it back, and our investment into the pot was already like, we only need 19% equity at this point.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think you could see him do this with,
And if he ever does this with like queen jack or king jack,
yeah. I think you could see him do this with the one combo of ace jack that's left, with the one combo. Is there a combo of ace jack suited that he can have? He can have ace jack of hearts here.
You could have queen jack of hearts, yeah.
Yeah, he can have that. You can have queens
Alright.
here that can choose to play this way.
all right, but Scotty, don't forget, we're in population, not in the charts. He can have ace jack off too.
Yeah,
King jack off, queen jack off, because that's what villains in the wild play.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, can you show us pot odds again, real quick? And then I'll
I
let
think
it
it's
go.
like 19%.
Go back one more, sir.
there.
One
10%.
more. No, one more.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is, yeah, it's ridiculously a hero fold.
So like,
Maybe-
if the stacks were deeper and he went to 90 with like another 100 behind,
I mean, also just just look right here. At this point, we're playing an SPR of under 3.5. And
Yeah.
I think at SPR 3.5, do you get to go broke with just an overpair in general?
in
There's-
general, that's not against everybody though.
Yeah, 3.5. I mean, at an SPR of 1, you just do. At an SPR of 2, you probably do, right? What sort of numbers am I looking for at an
Okay.
SPR? Think of is my dividing line in my own head of deep.
Okay,
Like
my
5.
my guideline is under 3, you generally go broke with top pair, top kicker plus.
Right.
Between 3 and 6, it depends on whether you want to go broke with top pair
Right.
plus.
And
6 and over, you generally do not go broke with top pair plus, but there are always exceptions.
Sure. Yeah.
And
So
there's
that-
always exceptions for the under 3 too.
Yeah.
Like you could be an SPR 2, but the guy betting is the biggest nit in the world.
or there's
You
a
might
4
not
line.
want to go. You might not want to go broke with one pair.
Right. Or the board. There's lots of boards that wouldn't do that, but this is not one of them. Okay. Cool. We looked at that. This hand, which I'm going to play terribly, I think was the one we ended on last time.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember that.
Was this? Yes, because I said there's no time to discuss this. Let's move on. So let's see how terrible this is. First of all, I think that this ace-9 is going to do a little bit of folding right here. Let's get an idea of what that.
I don't
chart-
think it does fold in position.
Let's see.
Four
Yeah.
bet, four bet bluffs.
Yeah, but does it call? That's the question. Is maybe that's the
I think it does.
button raise good. 3-bet here.
Yeah, I think the call is perfectly fine.
Pro is perfectly fine. Okay, good enough.
I mean, the one argument you could make is that population is not gonna have a properly polarized 3-bet range in big blind versus button.
But this one's still good enough. I mean,
Yeah.
this is good enough. And in another situation, in a single raised pot where they're, backdoor over. And a small bet is enough to call. This is not a tiny bet. So this is probably a fold here.
Yeah, I can understand why you're making it. I mean,
This is Louis. I blame Louis for this.
you've got back doors, dude.
No,
Right.
Don't blame Louis for that.
Okay.
So I
E-
think your
even-
error is here. I think you're going to. I anticipate he's going to check, and you're going to try to redline him.
Yeah.
Even when when I was going to Louis' study sessions,
Mhm.
he always had the caveat when it's 33% or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
that-
you cannot call the backdoors when the bet is more than 33. You either have to raise or fold.
yeah. So that's the thing. That's the mistake right there.
I don't understand that.
Well, does that hold true when you're playing deep stack at 100 big blinds? I think at 100 big blinds, your implied odds to the back doors is going to be higher, right?
But not in this hand, but this hand's 3-bet. So the pot is already, so the SPR is
Okay, so the SPR, okay, that's valid.
The SBR is already below 5-1.
That's valid.
So that's just a mistake. That's a mistake for both those reasons. And now saying, let's get ace king to fold, and when I don't, I block,
Now you're thinking of blocking the straight.
I block the straight, I block 9, I mean, he doesn't have
I guess he doesn't have jack nine.
there anyway, but
I admire your red line attempt though.
attempt, yeah, but I think this is an example of a place that I should know better at that point. Once I've made this bet,
So once you've made a highly filtering pot size bet.
Yeah.
And the oomph of what you've got remaining behind is, to use a technical term, the oomph,
Yes,
is not really there. I think this is a give up, yeah.
I also block, I block several of the hands that I want him to have. I want him to have ace, king, and ace, queen here.
Yes, you're blocking the Olaf folds. That's important. That's a
Yeah.
very good point.
This is the kind of thing that I believe my head knows and my hand did not know at the time. I think this is a good example of what I was talking about at the beginning of this session of I talk a better game than I play.
I mean, so you're blocking the nuts, but like you said, that doesn't matter because you shouldn't have jack nine.
Yeah.
And that's good, but you are not unblocking auto folds.
Right. And the blocking of 9-10 is not very important because he does not play 9-10 this way very often.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah.
And also, your combos of sets are reduced on the paired board here.
But he does play king like this, apparently. Good for him. All right. Let's see if let's see if that gets us to the new hands or if we're now on hands that we recognize. Zoom ace-7 should open, ace-jack should 3-bet some and call some on the button. Everyone else should fold. We'll see if the 6-8 gets in there. Ace-7 limps instead. Okay. This is a 245 big blind stack. Who's still limping? There's an ISO. And we did not see this ISO before.
No, I've not seen this hand.
We haven't seen it, but we did see a guy ISO with this kind of hand early.
Yeah, it was the first hand we did today, but it was in a different position.
It was a different position. Yeah, we saw this hand. Okay. Looking at this, the ace jack should consider folding. But he goes strong and huge.
Jeez.
Huge. This should work. This hand should be over.
I don't know what you think. You must be getting a call from 60 going 65.
Yeah.
Who previous to this is luck boxed up to a massive stack.
Yeah. So
In the wild, both may still call.
Oh, wow.
Let's see if he continues
this
to luck box.
This guy has his 245 big blind stack from playing badly. I believe that is an accurate thing we can say from just seeing 2 moves.
Yeah, I wonder if there's some meta going on here that both of these other players, well, the ace jack's just too big of a bet, so I don't expect him to be too good. But 6-8's ISOing wide, and the button can see that
No.
this player, this ace-7 player, is just kind of an idiot, and he can probably 3-bet his ISO at a better
Right.
clip.
So this cold 4, I mean, if we can call this a cold 4, whatever we want to call it. I think I prefer 16 big blinds here. What do you guys think? Maybe more, maybe 18?
I'd probably go like 13, like smaller, like 3x it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, okay, that's fair.
I think like 14.5 would be about standard. JL will go a bit more than 14.5.
No, why would he do that? If it's a cold 4 in position,
No, it's
So
it's not a 4-bet.
Yeah, it's a 3-bet of an ISO.
3-bet of an ISO, does that need to be bigger?
No, but JL would still go pot size, which is
Okay,
14, 15.5.
13.5, 14.5, 15.5, 16. It's 16
Yeah,
with the dead money. But yeah, this is huge.
I would go like 14.5.
This is huge. This should never happen. I hope there's an ace on the flop. And that's how he loses, because I want justice for the ace.
That's the
jack.
most likely outcome here.
Nope. All right.
6-8 is crying.
That's
And
cool.
that's not a thing.
Right. But the ace jack here should call.
Yeah, he should just call.
Backdoor 2 overs, this small bet, he should call. But he just says, I've seen how you play. This is all I need. And this guy says,
Yeah.
you saw how I play, but you didn't take it in. to consideration. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Oh,
He hit his 3-outer. Can we see what his equity was on flop?
on flop, he's
20%, yeah.
20%. On turn, he's got 95%. And on river, he has 0. And that is how this guy built up to a 340 big blind stack. All right. We have not seen this hand before.
Both plays are horrible. Second pair should not be calling there.
How does he get 20%? 19, he should have 16, right? Like 16 is like, well, you should have
Backdoor.
13.
Backdoor.
And then,
Oh, wait.
okay, so 13,
Oh, no,
he's
there's
got
13.
backdoors. He's got
13%
two
pot-
backdoors to go with the
13% pot odds, 19% to win. 19% to win.
So,
Three jack-
so, yeah,
and-
so 13% is like 3 outs. And
No,
then,
you're reading it wrong. This 13 is the pot odds.
oh, I'm looking at, no, I'm just saying, I'm looking at
Right.
19.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
saying he's getting 3 outs with the jacks.
Yeah,
And
That's-
then he's got an
okay.
additional 3% for backdoor flush and additional 3% for the backdoor straight.
Yeah.
That's like.
and then a tiny bit for running 10. No, he can't win with a 10-5. Nope, he can't get 2 winning cards to win. Okay. So there he goes, which is not good. I see what his feeling is.
In Max, in general, my basic strategy is if they bet so small that I'm getting the right direct odds to call, I would just generally call. I would want to bluff with hands that aren't getting the right odds to call.
I think jamming is fine too. I don't think it's not a mistake. And because the stack size is basically 1-to-1, I think the jam is just fine.
Oh, you mean this jam here?
Yeah, the flop.
Flop?
I would tend to call too as well. Like there's definitely, maybe we did see this one because did we discuss Nuffle on this hand?
I don't know if we did, but
What's
this is an
Nuffle?
example of Nuffle. This is an example of Nuffle, but are we deep enough for Nuffle?
Yeah, I almost
What
feel like
what
we did.
is Nuffle?
Oh, it's Brad Wilson's strategy against donks, against fishy donks.
You think
what-
Nuffle holds in, this kind
Three
of
bets.
pot?
No, 3-bet pots, I don't think it does.
Here's a little discussion of Nuffle, but I did not find any place publicly online where Brad goes through his Nuffle strategy. I think to get his Nuffle strategy, you either have to subscribe or you have to either give him money, or if you subscribe to the newsletter, then they send it to you in PDF form. Is that right?
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All
So you
right,
get Nuffle
Rick-
for free. You just have to do some work.
briefly say what is Nuffle?
So it's a strategy that you use against fishy players, or as Brad Wilson calls them, white belts. And in this particular situation, I don't think it applies because it's a 3-bet pot. But you typically when they shouldn't have donk bets and they do donk bet, it's a strategy. It's kind of like a flow chart basically, and the very first item in the flow chart is just to always call with no pair, no draw.
And also with the, so you flat everything.
Yeah, you never raise the flop.
What I like about it is that it then on turn gains additional information by what he does on turn and applies the appropriate aggression depending on the quality of your hand.
Right. But the first step in Nuffle here is you call everything and
You're never raising a Nuffle.
right. But I think this SPR is way too high for Nuffle.
That's a good point.
Yeah, which I think raising is okay. I think you can raise this. I think you can bluff raise this.
Okay.
Given the action.
So you're
And if
saying,
you're gonna raise, I think you just jam because you're
Yeah, if you're
basically
gonna
at
raise, just
1-to-1.
jam.
Yeah, you're at 1 SPR.
so if you're saying that if you have one SPR, you can just shove it in?
Well,
I don't understand that.
It's an option.
Yes, alright.
But is it the best option?
I think some of you are doing the math a bit wrong because you can see villain 65's hand. On this board, I see 2 overs, both of which might be good, a backdoor straight and a backdoor flush. So I would estimate I have really good direct odds just to flat this. 8-9 backdoor flush draw doesn't have as much equity, so I'd be more likely to raise that part of my range.
So one thing about the calling with the back doors, the pattern that I have seen a lot, I'm not saying you're gonna happen every time. I'm not saying you're always getting a bet on the turn, but that I see a lot with the smaller bet is they bet small for your response. If you jam on them, sometimes they fold, sometimes they call. But when you just call, the next card is very often from them now the big blind jam. And so even if you pick up your equity, you don't have the odds to continue. You don't get to call with your equity. You only get to realize your backdoor when he checks back. And maybe that devalues the value of your backdoors.
I don't understand why you say that shoving here is okay. Like I would, like my brain thinks that I got the best position. I'd rather use my position rather than big bets at this point.
Your positional advantage is very small in an SPR this low.
True. But like I just don't see like tons of fold equity
Yeah.
jumping out in my face. You know what I mean?
Either.
Like, the opponent donks into me. Is that, or I should say, raises me.
No, he
That
donks.
doesn't scream fold equity.
Yeah, he donks. This is a pure donk.
So I'm not thinking fold equity here
Why?
because I don't think because he's leading into me when he could check. Like he's leading tiny into me when he could check. So he doesn't think that this bet will fold me out more than like 10%. So I don't think that I have a lot of fold equity. Does that make sense?
Well, here's
So I
one
don't think
about this.
I don't think shoving over top 75 is wise.
Here's one thing about the story of the hand, which is this is a big 3-bet pot from me. So I'm repping jacks, queens, kings, aces, ace, king. And he's happy to bet into it.
Alright, step back. I know Brad Wilson doesn't use this, but he uses white belt.
Yeah.
But I go back to the David Sklansky multi-level poker thinking.
Yes.
Um,
I'm thinking I might be I might be thinking
If
too
he-
ahead, and if I do that, I screw myself.
if he's playing level 1 and he's not even considering that you have jacks through aces in your range.
Yeah.
But that I hits a card, I'm going to bet.
So he's level 1 and your level. You
So
want
if
to be
he
at
hits a-
level 2 thinking.
Right.
We
So if he
don't.
hits a card, he's not going to if he hits a card, if he's that kind of a player, he hits a card, he's not going to fold. Then my jam is not very good because very often here I do have aces, kings, queens, jacks.
Yeah,
And
because
I can.
you would be playing level 3. You never.
Never
The
think
reasoning
2
you
levels
use
above.
multi-level thinking is you only want to play 1 level over your opponent.
Yes.
So if they're not thinking about your range, you can't take your range into consideration when trying to develop a counter strategy to his bet.
No, I think I said it wrong. I'm not thinking about. I'm gonna go with your thing of saying that this is a level 1 player. We're gonna take that assumption right now. Therefore, he has a pair.
He's only thinking about his hand, is what you're saying.
He has a
Right.
pair. But we're
He's
gonna
not
assume.
thinking about what your hand is. He's just
Right.
thinking about his hand.
But I know my hand range. And because in this situation, I have enough aces, kings, queens, and jacks to play this way, I can fold my ace jack here or just call. I don't need to turn it into a bluff. Because he has a pair, therefore he's probably not folding a pair. I'm now trying to think just one level above him. He has a pair. He's probably not folding a pair. I don't need to bluff because he's not going to, when I do jam, he's not folding any pair, is the thought, which is the case. Therefore, his mistake of donking here allows me to get all his money when I have my better hands. And when I have a hand like this that has a lot of outs, maybe calling is not bad because his bet is so small.
Yeah. Like if he's not thinking about your hand, then it makes no sense to bluff him.
Right, right. That's
That's what you're saying.
That's where
That's
that.
what Joey's saying too, I think.
Yeah.
Is that
All
correct,
right.
Joey?
Joey's making a sandwich, but I'm going to answer for Joey. Yes, that's what that's Joey's thought is that
Yes.
trying to bluff him
Okay.
off was a bad idea.
Years ago, we had a term for that, and that was called leveling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to play too complex strategy versus somebody just playing their own cards, that's called leveling yourself.
Yep.
So if you're trying to play level 3 poker against this guy, you're going to end up making mistakes versus him because you're putting thoughts in his head that he's not having.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. One other thing about terminology as we go on. So we use the term fish a lot. And then what I've been hearing a few people say, and I like this, is the term, he's a fun player. So the fun player raises. I like that. I like that as a synonym for fish.
I like that too, because it sounds non-derogatory.
Exactly. It's the same thing with
You never
Rex.
want to say anything derogatory at the table.
And the same thing with the term Rex and regs. He's a rec, he's a reg. Reg is a better term than fish to convey the same thing. But
Tourist,
this is what
donkey,
happens.
whatever, yeah.
That's what happens. Moving on. All right. Jack should raise, ace should re-raise, Jack 10 should fold. And then this Jack probably mixes some calls with some raises. It's me. This is going to end badly. I think that I'm going to just call, and if the board comes low, I'm going to go broke.
I think this configuration, Jax kind of wants to get it in. I'm not sure though.
I know tens, I think in GTA was it tens have shoves here.
Let's see how bad it is. Button raises.
Why are 10s shoving there?
Because small blind's range is
Oh, no,
his 3-betting range is very wide. And because his 3-betting range is very wide, it allows you to put tens in your shoving range.
If you like against population that like
Against population, I would not do it.
Yeah.
because my population hasn't read the book where it says you're supposed
Yes.
to 3-bet fold in the small
Yeah, no, they do
blind.
a lot of this stuff all calls. A lot of the stuff that tens likes.
I mean,
That's-
Derek,
that's-
this is what Joey was talking about before.
Yeah.
I mean, following the charts to the letter, especially in 3-bet pots, is an error.
True. Yeah, that's exactly what Joey was saying.
Yeah.
They
But-
haven't read the book, so you're
But with this in mind, Jax is not, even in the wild, Jax is not a bad 3-bet, and it's going to go badly for me. Because I'm going to assume that I knew that at the time I knew this, and it's going to happen. Let's
this is
see.
almost a pure 3-bet there. Isn't
Oh,
it?
no.
A pure 3-bet.
It's going to get bigger. Oh
Uh-oh.
this might be different.
You were set up, man. Rig site.
Okay, so I'm going to go to 5.5.
Okay,
He's going to go to 13.
I
For-
would never 4-bet this because I would go back like
I'm not
thinking
4-betting
just-
now.
just at level 3. If the small blind knows that my range on the button is tighter because of the limpers, he's going to have a tighter 3-betting range.
Yeah.
I also wonder if there's a bit of a super premium sizing tell here.
Okay.
This might
Can
be a
I
little bit of
ask you
small
something, Joey?
cold form.
Why did you say my
Six-
range is tighter because of the limpers?
17, 18.
All
They're
right,
on the
with
button?
2 limpers, the buttons ISO range should be close to an under the gun range.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, think of it this way, Derek. Just for a second, picture your real button opening range. All
Okay.
the garbage that's in a button opening range.
Right.
Now, a bunch of that garbage is just going to fold to the 2 limpers because it needed fold equity. I mean, you've got ace-3 offsuit in your raising range here, right?
Right. Right.
Do you want to 3-bet ace-3 offsuit?
And queen deuce suited.
Yeah, you've got queen deuce suited here in your raising range. Are you going to 3-bet queen deuce suited here? Are you going to ISO it? Hell no. And you
Oh,
should.
because I think like my thinking, which is probably wrong, is that these guys are limpers. They're fish. They just put a big sticker on their forehead saying "I am an idiot."
Right. And do you want to
Right.
be
So
and do you want to be in a pot in position with queen deuce suited against 2 idiots?
I think
Position.
that I can play like it's probably arrogant, but I
Alright.
think that I want to get in pots with idiots.
Okay,
what I
Derek,
mean.
Suited with ace-3
Derek.
off?
Derek,
Yep.
let me add another thing. With 2 limpers, you play tight because you're going to get most likely going to go to the flop 3 ways. So you want to go in with a better range. You want your hand to be stronger than their limps.
Right.
Against a single limper, you can ISO range your full range.
So
But
okay,
it-
so I think I
Joey,
might be
you said-
thinking about this stuff wrong, because I've been like jumping in with both feet to play the same range if there's limpers or not.
Can you
That is a
clarify something,
mistake.
Joey? You said you would use an under the gun range, but you mean low jack, right?
No. All right.
You're talking about a 9-handed under the gun range?
Yes. I
You
did
wouldn't-
I did a mathematical study. All right, let me explain. Over about 10 years ago, I developed a mathematical formula for pre-flop ranges that I was using. And when the solvers came out, the solvers emulated my original pre-flop ranges to within 1% from every spot. Then I recently went back and redid the math for limped pots. And with 2 limpers, I came up with a range very close to under the gun range as being a valid range to ISO 2 limpers.
So I've been playing wrong for years, because I read that just consider limping checks. That's what I've been doing. Because I read
Say that
in,
again.
Okay, in the books that I've read, they say just consider a limp to be a check, and then just like add enough to make it a pot size bet.
No, that's
So-
definitely wrong.
Okay, so I'm playing wrong.
Okay.
This isn't the first time I've just okay.
The
Like I learned so much in these things.
all right, here we go. Let me give you the full math rundown the way it worked.
Okay.
For every limper, your base range should move back 2 positions. So from the
Here's my
button
button
with
range.
1 limper, you should open like a hijack range.
So I'm in games where I got 7 limpers. So that means I should move 14 limpers?
Well, no, you never need to move tighter than an under the gun 9-handed range.
Okay.
With that many limpers, I would just raise the top half of the under the gun range. Something like 8s plus, king queen plus, and ace 10 suited, ace jack plus.
You wouldn't set mine?
No, you can.
No,
you
I'm
can
talking
bet
about
on-
raising. I'm talking about
Oh,
raising.
okay.
I'm not saying you fold all that other stuff.
Okay.
I don't even think I would raise 8s there, by the way, against 7 limpers. But yes, I got your idea there.
Because I think like position is gold. Like maybe I'm overvaluing position.
Yeah, Max, that's probably good. As long as you keep a really tight range, the 2x pot will work. Like if you're keeping it to like tens plus and ace queen plus, 2x pot will work.
For 7 limpers?
Yeah, if you keep your range tight enough. You see, the thing about pre-flop ranges is it's a risk versus reward analysis.
Right.
If we go back to this, so there are 2 limps. Let's say you're raising 5 big blinds to win 3.5 big blinds. There's a
Right.
certain percent you're betting. The odds against yourself that you're betting is 1.6 to 1, something like that. So
Giving odds.
the lowest hand in your value range should be the best hand at something like 65% of the time.
So since there's 2 limpers, that moves it. You're moving from the button to the hijack to the under the gun +2, the U7.
Yes.
So
And you don't have to do the whole range. I usually start with the top half of the range.
so you can squeeze. So you're certainly playing with. So you would fold like King 4,
Yes,
Queen
in a
9
heartbeat.
suited?
Huh?
Yeah.
Really?
And play these.
See the partial ones?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I would raise the partial ones.
Oh, I'm definitely calling those.
You'd call, but these are all
Right.
calls.
Yeah,
Everything here.
I'm not
Oh.
saying to fold them. I'm
Right.
just saying the difference between ISO raising or calling.
But Queen 9 to Queen 2, you're just folding suited.
Of course.
Yeah.
Really?
They're trash.
But you have position.
Right, but you're going to be in a multi-way pot.
So that's why you want suited. Right?
No.
No?
Flush
They're
out.
just,
Okay.
they're just trash. You don't want to raise them. You can play, you can call, but I'm not raising them.
Okay. So you're saying that I can still play Queen 9 suited, but don't raise it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I probably wouldn't hit Queen 8 suited.
I wouldn't hit Queen 8 suited either.
Really?
No, you need a straight. Queen 9 would be the lowest I would go, but I get the idea there.
Now,
Yeah.
if you are in a pot against a single raiser,
Mhm.
and you know, all right, here's my
You mean a
what
limper?
here's what I coach people when they're in a pot against a single raiser. You move back 2 spots as your base range.
You said
Hijack.
razor, Joey. You meant limper, right?
Yes, I meant limper. I'm sorry if I
Okay.
misworded it.
So you consider, if you're on the button, you're considered to be in the hijack.
Yeah, and raise the top half of your range. The top half of the hijack range. And maybe call the bottom half.
Okay.
So all the stuff that mixes here in this range that can flop well, we can call behind.
Right.
And,
And-
and the top half of the raising range is
So it has 21% here. I would raise the top 10% in general. That's just my general starting point. Top 10%, which is like eights plus, ace, jack suited, king, queen, ace, queen. Something around there is about 10%. Or maybe it's a little short. Maybe add ace, jack off, and ace 10 suited.
three bet. I would be 3-betting ace jack and ace 10 suited.
But now you have other things. If the blinds are tight and the limper plays fit or fold post flop, then you can expand your button range to a full button range as an exploit for that situation you were in. But in
Okay.
general, you cannot do that versus every limper and with every person in the blind because you don't know how they're going to react.
Okay.
If you have loose passive players in the blind, you're very likely to go 5 ways in this hand some percentage of the time.
Right.
That's why you don't want to be in there with the junk. You want to be in with really good hit. You want to be in there with a really good starting range. This way, when you do hit the flop, you're likely still to be good.
Right. Queen 10 offsuit, very bad for this in this story.
Okay, so I've been thinking about limp pots all wrong, and I'm playing a ton of limp pots because of my population that I'm playing against. So this is super helpful, and none of the books ever say when you have to say what to do when you
There,
have all
there
these
is
limpers.
there is a book that I compared my notes with, and my original math pretty much holds up to Jonathan Little's book on small stakes, no limit.
I have that book.
Look
Okay, I'm
at
gonna go read it
look
again.
at the chapter for limping and see what his ranges are when he's ISO raising people. They're not that wide.
Okay, I'm gonna go read that book again because apparently I didn't understand. It didn't
It's
sink
not
in.
the crushing small stakes that he gives for free. He has
No.
another small stakes no limit hold'em book.
Let me go get the book. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay.
Hold on.
Right. And then was one of a couple things that Max said here about the about in this limping in your ranges. We're not too concerned about board coverage when we construct our raising range because we're going to be in a multi-way pot. So he says we're not that worried about board coverage because they're not going to be thinking about the boards, about being able to exploit us because they know our range misses the board. And you're right, but I think the main reason is not that they aren't thinking. It's that even if they were thinking very, very deeply, it's not just our range they have to worry about. They have to worry about multiple other ranges that have board coverage. So our range doesn't need board coverage. Our range needs to be better handing. We go into bigger pots with better hands, and over time we win more money as long as we don't stack off with top pair in multi-way pots that are contested.
Okay, I got the book. It's called Jonathan Little on Live No Limit Cash Games. Is that one you're talking about, Joey?
Maybe. I can't remember.
Because I'm looking at the pre-flop section and it doesn't say anything like that.
Okay.
Let me go find my copy, see what
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and then let's
This
move
is
on with this
great.
hand. Let's
This
yeah.
is great. I'm learning so much when I come to these things.
Yeah.
It's like
And
blows
so
my mind.
the way that I play based on things Joey said is my initial thing is somebody limps and I go, would I open this hand 2 seats back of me, not of them, of my position? And if the answer is no, then I rarely ISO them. If the
So
answer is yes, then I think about the particular hand I have in that range because that includes the bottom half. So I start with that. Wherever their limp comes from, I go, would I raise this hand 2 seats back? And if the answer is yes, then I go, maybe I will ISO them. If the answer is no, I almost never ISO. And if the answer is yes, then I think about how often they've ISO'd. The earlier they are, do they have aces in their range from that ISO position? And if this is someone who is who limps a ton, but also raises, then I will raise almost the full range of it because they're at the bottom of their range. If this is someone who limps their entire range, and you know those people, their ranges are too wide, but they limp all of them, including king jack suited and ace king offsuit. They limp those. Then I don't want to be near the bottom of my range when I ISO them. I want them to be near the bottom of their range for me to ISO my full range from there. All right. And then there's the person who limps every hand, and then you just look at your own opening range.
Okay.
Now the heuristic that you had about think of a limp as if it weren't there. I think that rule was not that. It was when someone donks one big blind later in the hand, you have these tiny bets, you can treat those as if they were checks, I think. Moving on. I do this. This happens to me, and I believe that that jacks plus shouldn't fold here yet. 8s and 9s and 10s can. I think jacks needs to call and lose this much money. Oh well, jacks is going to lose much more money. He checks. I check behind. Oh, I do like me. He bets 23. I'm going to lose 23. And now when he jams, I'm not going to be able to get away with it with only 55. And so I get stacked. That's what happens. Yep. Okay. Somebody play this hand better than me, please.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean,
Just a setup.
Yeah, it's a good, I mean, we can put this in the range of coolers, especially with the, run out. So the question then becomes, at what point in this hand can I consider folding? So your flop check back is, I think, good.
Here I can consider folding here. I don't know that I should with jacks
I
plus.
don't think you can consider folding here.
Yeah.
Especially in position.
Could be villain dependent, but yeah, I don't think so either.
Derek, I
So-
found the book.
I think the check here is good. I think your first decision point is, I think, well, let's look at his turn sizing. So his turn sizing is what? It's like 80%,
Yeah.
75%. Pretty hard to get away from this after check on flop.
Nobody has leverage for your entire stack.
Yeah,
That's what
I mean,
that's
he's-
what I think Scotty's thinking. Like, if he
I mean, the
calls
one
his
thing to
check
think
and loses
about
leverage,
is,
yeah.
How often is he gonna, with this sizing, how often is he gonna shove river?
He's not. If he's doing it with tens or nines, you're still fucked. He'd have
Right.
to be doing it with eights.
I have to put him on ace king,
Yes.
to quote the great Mike.
So
That
you're
is a
also
big
blocking his
range.
bluffs, which isn't good, right? Because you're blocking queen jack. Well, let's look at blockers and other stuff here. You're blocking queen jack and you're blocking this flush draw. So you're blocking ace jack and king jack of clubs. That's not good either.
There we go.
That's a very young Jonathan Little with hair.
Look at him. Oh, he's adorable. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just combos, right? I mean, ace king is a lot of combos. Ace queen is a lot of combos. I mean, you're still beating bluffs. I mean, I think it's just a setup.
So that's what happened there.
I mean, if you do want to think about it, the one thing about is, am I unblocking bluffs? And am I blocking his, yeah, essentially, it's, am I
I'm
unblocking bluffs? here?
I'm unblocking bluffs, and the idea that I block jack nine is meaningless because that is such a small part of his range that he would get here with.
I think you are blocking bluffs on turn.
I'm blocking or unblocking?
I think you are blocking his bluffs on turn.
Oh, okay, because
You're
The
blocking
jack-
queen jack suited,
king jack
you're
as
you're
well.
blocking queen jack suited and you're blocking the flush draw. You're blocking ace jack of clubs and king jack of clubs.
Are you getting 3-bet by hands like that in population? I know they should 3-bet or
sometimes.
fold, but I don't think my population does 3-bet or fold ever.
My population has some king jack suited here. And
Okay.
my
I mean, king queen
Fair
of,
enough.
yeah, I mean, yeah, queen jack of clubs. Yeah, you could argue that you're blocking bluffs there.
Okay. I'm unblocking ace, king, and ace, queen. That's what I'm unblocking.
Yeah,
King,
that's true.
queen.
Offsuit. I'm unblocking 24 24 combos of that.
Yeah,
Maybe
king,
the way to
queen.
think about this hand is if you go back to turn. Okay, puts in his B75, right? And then you ask yourself, okay. If I call this, how am I gonna feel about a shove on river? Cause my hand essentially cannot improve. Far
Yeah.
two out.
And
It's
if I
like
hit my
making your
jack,
two
I
outs.
lose against one. If I hit my jack, I lose against 1/3 of his bluff, 1/3 of the bluffs that I put him on.
It's very hard to fold here. I don't know if I could.
So there we go. All right.
I think the only other question is, do we bet the flop when he checks?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna bet more of this hand than we are with kings or, well, we're not gonna have kings or queens. Then
think-
more, we're not gonna have kings, we might have queens. We are gonna bet with this hand more than we are with queens, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I like the check here because this hand is marginally made against his range, not on this board. I mean, you look at this board and you go, oh, it's an overpair. It's an overpair with a backdoor straight and a backdoor flush. But against this polarized range right there, I think this is marginally made.
Maybe another question to ask yourself on turn is, Does this player have ace queen off? In this weird, see, it's very hard to know what a range is
Yeah.
in this weird configuration.
It's hard to know what his range is with his cards face up. We don't know.
Yeah,
All right. Enough self-pity. Fold, 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 raise, fold. King 10 off. Don't fold. Yep.
this is one of those hands where you're like, how did this get to be a, yeah, a
Yeah.
massive.
Oh, and but these guys are hugely, how deep they are. I think he could maybe fold this pre at this depth. He's 249. I don't know that he needs, well, never mind. We've seen this hand
Oh,
before.
yeah.
We've seen this hand before. All right. Oh, by the way, if you care, the queen 4 wins this hand.
That's right.
Woohoo!
Just for those of you who are keeping track.
I would say that doesn't hurt the game at all.
No, it doesn't. Good
We
point.
played against that guy for 90 minutes and he played like that the whole time. And I believe we lost 20 big blinds over the whole night, something like that. Or maybe we won 10, but we were not one of the people who got that fun. All right, here we go. 10-10 raises, ace king 3 bets. 10-10 should not 4-bet this. And should not fold it, I don't think. There's the,
Yeah, I think it'll have, I mean, in solver land, it'll fold.
okay, we'll take a look at how often it folds there, the 10-10. But this person does not like chips or being or art. No, but this for not
They hate money.
are you those. All right, we go. That is unnecessary.
Big thinking
I-
about getting a seat change button.
Derek, real quick, I'm sorry to distract from this hand, but I posted a chart in the that this is from Jonathan's book, Raising the Button versus a Hijack Limper.
Okay.
And so this should be approximately the top half of the hijack range. 6s plus. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Well, this is a bit wider than that, but it's not as wide as raising the whole button range.
So just to compare those two ranges, we're comparing just the red part. So here's a hijack range. He's playing, he's playing all these things that can flop well as a call on the button. In position. I don't love this.
No, I don't like that. I don't like
Want to do any of this.
I don't like any of the offsuited stuff in there.
Yeah, I don't want to do any of that. I don't despise this. I hate this.
I'm going to go back into my.
All right. Back to the game.
I'm going to go back into my documents to see if I ever did a document on.
Okay. So against this size, I guess queen, I guess 10-10 just goes, do I want to play for his stack here? And at 10-10, I don't know. A 9-9, I don't want to. 9-9, I think I want to fold, unless this guy's played crazy.
I'll
And
say that size
Jack,
is
Jack.
never right.
Jack and above, oh no, it's never right, but you've now got to play against it. So I believe this is a bad play. But someone made it, and that's not us. This is you. You don't get to
Yeah,
see,
you're just not getting the implied odds here.
do you need them for 10-10? That's my question. You're not set mining with
Yeah,
king.
I understand your point. Well,
You're going with it. You're going with it as long, you're going with it against anything other than an ace, king, king, queen, a flop that has an ace or two overcards, you're folding, and all the other ones you're going with. If the
I
flop
mean,
comes back
this
high,
is,
you're going with it.
this is ignition, so I mean, KYC is not that effective, but it's very hard to understand what this kind of range would look like.
What's KYC again?
Notice
KYC
it's
doesn't exist.
customer.
KFC, we've changed it. It's KFC.
So you're making me hungry for fried
Yeah.
chicken now.
I can't
Yeah,
eat.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a weird one. I think, if I looked at this in game, I'm thinking, well, I'm in position. Well, I'm not in position. Yeah, I'm gonna fold this.
All right.
In
We're gonna
position,
go-
I might call, but out of position, I'm gonna fold.
We're gonna go with
What,
Max's
the
assumption.
tens?
Okay,
They
so,
may, tens may fold in this.
Right.
But I don't know if we can get a call from that spot.
queen plus and 8 plus. Is that nope, that's not how you say it. You gotta put in a comma. And you might have to put in the offsuit. Nope, there we go. Okay, so that's Max's range right here, right?
And I would
Agreed.
argue that you could even discount aces, like maybe only, like they're not going to do it with aces. They're not going to do that with aces very often or less often than they would with those other hands.
Yeah.
But you can include aces, obviously, because
Yeah, 10,
Can
10.
you give partial
Oh.
aces?
Yeah, it's easy. It's a trivial thing. Let's set up this range here, go to range manager, go to
Discount aces and king.
aces, we'll go to aces and we'll give him 50% of aces there. And we'll give him 75% of kings. Try that again, click 75, 70. He's got 70% of kings. He's got 50% of aces. And as long as we're giving him this, let's give him 10% of 3-3. Because maybe he's that guy.
I had a hand like this where some guy bet me 800 cold.
So
So
against this
I
range,
would say that, like, so I have jacks, and some guy bet 800 cold.
yeah, we're not happy with jacks.
I'm not happy with jacks.
No, we're not happy with this, but now Jack, run Jack.
Scotty, can
Jack,
I
Jack.
recommend something different?
Yep.
I do agree with putting in a small bluff range, but when I configure my ranges just to check them, I always kind of use things that are like pocket threes are like the best case scenario for a bluff range with pocket tens.
Yeah.
But something like ace five is not the best case scenario because it still has 30% equity versus your
Right.
10-10.
Right. Notice though, I gave him 10% of 3-3.
Right.
I'll give him 2% of 3-3 just because I saw this yesterday. It was 3-3.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not
No,
there.
no. And now let's give him 100% of ace five suited. Sure. How about that? Just for fun. And now let's run this real quick. We love this. And now the 10-10.
But there's still a third person in the pot.
Not for long, but yes, I get your point. So yeah, 10-10 against this is a flip. Let's not flip. Let's not flip against that range.
Yeah,
But this guy with 360 big blinds is going to, I guess, jam. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. And now ace king is going to call and they're going to coin flip for a lot of money. There we go. And that was a 200 big blind pot. Okay.
and now drawing 25s on 500 bucks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the amount of variance that he gets to get away from by folding this is 3 big blinds worth of, he guarantees a 3 big blind loss. This is 100% loss of 3 big blinds. As compared to not what he had against the guy's hand, but against a thing like this based on Max's assumptions plus a tiny bit of ace 5 and a tiny bit of 3 and an insignificant amount of 3-3. So not my favorite play against it. I think just it's just such an enormous amount of variance. I don't think you need to take for a close thing. I say that having called ace jack offsuit against somebody's 3-3 the other day. But he had a much smaller stack. He had 22 big blinds and he had demonstrated himself to be crazy.
So if you're playing a live like 2-5 game and someone shoves 800 in your face and you've got jacks, what would you do?
A lot of folding.
Yeah.
But I mean, it
I
depends on
called.
it depends on the pre-flop action also. I mean, if it's
No,
just
this is the pre-flop. This is pre-flop.
no, I meant, was it no one else was in the pot? You did a standard size raise and they
Yep.
shoved over it for,
They shoved, I made a standard size raise. He shoved 500. I mean, 800 on me.
800 and it's 2-5. So he shoved 150 big blinds.
Yep.
Fold and lose 3 big blinds.
Yep.
But
Unless
sometimes
he's a pure maniac and he's been doing it.
No,
Yeah.
I just sat down.
Oh, yeah.
First hand. I'm still unpacking my chips.
Oh, definitely fold then. You don't know anything else? Fold and someday and later in that session, you'll have kings or aces
Yep.
and you'll make a standard size raise. And what did he have, by the way?
He had kings.
Well, there you go.
Turns out he's the youngest old man coffee I've ever met.
There you go. Yep.
Looked like a young guy, so I decided,
Fold and
fine
be
with the
unhappy.
variance.
Okay. Now I say that. Watch what happens when it comes up in an actual hand. I talk a better game than I play. All right. Ace queen raises. 9-9 defends by calling. Is what should happen. It's not what's going to happen because somehow they're going to get all in. Let's see what it is. Is it a set against a flush? There's a raise, oversized. But even against this oversized raise, 9-9s, I think is still good enough to call. They're not going to pretty. Oh, you wanted to know? Because of this egregiousness. Oh my. Not me. You don't see me going, oh, look at the pot odds. 9-9 here is good enough to play.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're-
absolutely.
Closing the action.
Heightened range, yeah. You're rarely going to be set over set. Yeah. This is really bad.
This is terrible. This is spewing money away.
All right, who's on this call? Wait a second. Let's look at who our participants are. Okay, participants. All right. We've got all the regulars. Max, if you want to turn on your microphone, you don't have to, but if you want to turn on your microphone, I want you to give us all the reasons why you think this is a bad play. If you don't want to turn on your mic, you don't have to. I'm just giving you the ability to do it. 2, 3, 4. There he is. All right.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you perfectly.
Awesome. So I think first of all, the sizing is just ridiculous. And you're out of position and you're using bad hand selection and and the hand just doesn't play that well, this stack depth, every single factor you can possibly think of for for a hand, this is all
Exactly.
against it for this one.
Right. Now tell us why. Now, so one of the things, the first thing you said is the sizing is ridiculous, which everyone on the call agrees with. Why? What is it? What are the bad things about this sizing?
Well, I mean, you're giving the other players an amazing price to call, with their entire range in position is one aspect. I mean, you're also kind of building the pot with a hand where it's just if you don't hit your set, you're just gonna be throwing money away in a certain sense. And there's just no universe where it just makes any sense whatsoever, from a logical point of view.
Yep. And all those are absolutely true. And then there's one other terrible thing about it, which is it reopens the action. So when ace queen suited is uncapped, when he has his aces and kings and you had equity against them, you might have stacked them when you hit a 9, you might not get to see your 9. Or if you do see your 9, you're going to pay way too much money for it because you can raise to 8 and he can raise to 24 or 40 if he wants. He can jam if he wants. So yeah, those are all good reasons why this is a terrible idea.
Yep.
Like
Like clockwork.
He does that. And now you're in just such a terrible situation. Now he's going to call him, and what happens is going to happen because we know that he has 400 big blinds because he's been taking risks.
Well, if you shove it all in, you don't have to worry about position.
Right. But this is he doesn't have to worry about position that much this time though, because it's only 54 blinds back.
Yeah.
I think his play is, if he calls this, his play is, he checks a set and he jams into any board that is 10 and below.
Yeah, dunk jam.
You just dunk jam.
Yeah, just stop and go.
Yeah. But I think he might jam it right now. No, he calls. Now we see it is.
I just had one
He should not.
comment
Now. Yes.
that Max said that this is a bad hand to choose. It's not necessarily pocket nines in that situation. I'm pretty sure probably have at least a little bit of three betting. It just would never be to 8. It would be
It would be to enough to get a fold.
about 20, maybe 20 to 25-ish.
Yeah, I
Now,
like that size 25,
right. But
24, whatever.
I like
No.
20. I would use 20.
note this. This is a polarized opening range. Do you want to be three betting specifically this
Scott-
middle class?
Scotty, are you
Okay,
putting
fine.
thoughts into the player's head that they themselves are not having?
Yes, I am. Describing them with our language. So let me say another way. This is a very big bet. Do you want to ignore his hand class or what it means? Do you want to take that aggressive line in the overvariance that you have to get? Because normally you can get that aggressive line in with 15, but now you've got to go to 20 to do it. 12 would be enough, maybe against, 2.5. He goes 2.5, he calls. So that's going to be 7, 12.5, maybe 15, for out of position. Whereas now I got to go 20 or 25 to accomplish the same thing. So now I'm not putting any thoughts in his head. Now, what do you think?
I still like 20 here as an option. I would probably call, but choosing 9-9 to 3-bet is not horrible here.
Okay. But this is. And then this
Yes,
happens.
the sizing is horrible.
And then this happens.
And
now,
then that call's even worse.
if you make this call though, this is the thing you hated. And if you make this call, and it's so bad because he almost always has some kind of two, even his mistakes are often 2 overs. If you do
Yeah.
that,
You're either crushed or only flipping.
yeah, you are rarely. Ace 5 is the best you can hope for. And eights played weird. Having said all this, if you walk up to a poker table and someone hands you pocket nines and says, oh, by the way, this is the action up till now, go. This seems like a really easy board to check fold to. You were looking for a board that was 10 and below before you played your nines for your last half pot, I think.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
But it's only a half
so-
pot, so small.
It's only half pot. Like,
Yeah, you just shouldn't be here. Okay, well, there he goes. And no, he does not go runner. He gives away that. You've heard big pots go with big hands? No, big pots go with bad decisions. Bold, there, in the charts, if you care, there are barely even slivers of deuces here and just a good fold. Fold, 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 raise, fold, fold, fold. That's not what's going to happen. There's the raise there.
oh yeah, that should be,
2,
that's
3.
not horrible.
No, it's not horrible. It's about a quarter of the time. The
That's
tens.
in there.
Yeah, that's in there. About right around 25% of the time, says Scotty. Oh, you can't see the number. You can only see the shape. 25.8. Getting closer. All right. And I'm gonna 3-bet this. And he calls. That's a very good fold from him there. And not against my hand, but against my range. And what's gonna happen? Good things are going to happen.
How do you stack him?
I'll show you.
There,
So I have top set on a board that he misses. So I can't bet big based on the board dynamic, but I can bet, and I can bet my whole range here. You know, against this board, I can bet every hand that I've 3-bet, and I can bet them all for about 5 big blinds. But instead, I choose this so that this can happen. He bets big. I can see that when he has draws here, they are high equity. So I can raise him with my hand because I don't mind a high equity draw folding. I can also keep him in with his bluffs.
but typically when they bet larger, you raise less.
Yep,
Yeah, I prefer the call here.
yep, got that.
I bet larger, you raise less
Less often, not less
on the
size.
turn, so you can get another bet out of him. Is that the thinking, Joey?
Well, no, just generally when they bet
On
large,
every, yeah,
you're
go on.
not going to, when they bet large, your value range that's going to be able to raise versus his value range is going to be small. So sometimes when it is so small that the solver will just go into a call only mode.
So imagine this position, you're pre-flop. You're out of position. I'm sorry, you're on the flop. You're out of position. The board comes and you've got a hand that you are considering check raising with.
Okay.
Some, for partial value, for some bluffs, or because it's the super nuts, whatever it is. And you check and he bets small. You've got a lot of check raises on that. You check and he bets 2x pot. He has made such a polarized bet that he's got the absolute nuts or nothing, kind of is what he's saying with that bet. I'm not saying that's what he has. That your response to this with the almost nuts, with the whatever it was, has now changed, and your best play is usually to just call it. Because with a second nut, you get it all in against the nuts. That's terrible. And against all his bluffs, he just folds them.
Okay.
So the more polarized he is, and picture a super polarized range now, picture a city graph with everything at the top and everything at the bottom. Every hand in the middle has no interest in raising against that. And is his bet size saying that that's what his hands are? So that's one argument. And then the other is just the amount of money. There's enough money. This is how you get all his money in, like that.
Okay.
You want to know, Joey? That's how you do it. Because he did what? Anyone? He put me
bluffed.
on ace king. All right. And Joey, will you let me put that thought in his head?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Oh, followed up by this one, which is going to go badly. All right. So this should go raise, 3-bet, and call. I don't think I'm supposed to be folding tens here. Raise, 3-bet.
Yes,
guys.
you'll have folds in solver land.
Okay. Oh, did we look at the other fold? Oh, the other, let's look at how bad it is. Okay. I am hijack. Hijack raises, button 3-bets, back to the hijack with tens.
Oh, no, okay, starts at 9. Sorry, my bad.
Yep. And if I knew this chart and was following this chart and wanted to do this chart, I would not raise this hand. I would. So I'm going to predict that I do not raise. Nope, I don't. All right.
Oh.
We're done. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Wow.
Pain.
What order do you think I will lose all the money in?
Well, it doesn't matter. You're gonna lose all the money.
Check, bet, raise. I have middle set. I put him on ace king. He's going to lose a lot of money. This is the time to do it. There's my raise. He jams.
I don't think his jam is very good.
No.
It works. Just so you know. I
Well, you
don't-
have the one combo, right? Well, not
don't-
one, but
I don't look at this and go, it's either kings or jack queen, both of which are in his range. But against jack queen, I have outs. And so, goodbye, chips. Come on, queen. Come on, queen, queen.
Case
one
10.
time.
One time. All right.
Case 10.
We go to the back of the flop real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so you check raise.
Yep.
What are you guys doing with your king, king, king?
I'm
Your
calling.
SPR now is 2. I think it's just a call, right?
Yeah, I would call. I don't know if you have 4-bet or 3-bets here or not.
I
You
mean,
could-
I don't think there's, I mean, you're blocking his. I mean, he got lucky here because you were at top of range, but he's blocking all the king X. There's no reason to raise here, especially in position.
Plus, what if he just calls and then the jack comes and I jam?
Yeah, that jack
But
is
he still
interesting.
calls, he still calls with his 20% to hit a full house in his range.
Yeah.
He's not folding set of kings here.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out different ways that he could take all your money.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways.
Well, you could just click
I'm
it
wondering
back.
I'm wondering if tens don't raise the flop sometimes.
What size was his bet? Yeah, I think that a lot of times you can slow play here. Your equity's ridiculous.
It,
I mean,
wa-
your
it
equity's in
was-
the 90s, so you're gonna have some slow play.
It was a slow play. Or I mean it was a small bet. Who has queen jack suited more often?
Me,
Caller.
Hmm.
me because I open all
But-
my queen jack suited and he only 3-bets some of his queen jack suited. But do I
But
fold queen jack?
I don't
suited?
know if it's in the charts. On the button, I raise queen jack off some percentage too.
It's not in the charts,
No, that's an auto fold.
but that's fine. But you are the all-powerful Joey. Do not look at the man behind the mask. So his queen jack suited, he does some calling with. So he doesn't have it full frequency. I've got it full frequency in a larger thing. Now, when my range is filtered,
Do you? Because
Yeah.
you're gonna fold it, aren't you?
no,
Sometimes-
I don't think I folded at all the question, and I fold all this other stuff. So let's see.
No, the
think I-
low jack, as the low jack
I'm the hijack,
or hijack.
right? I
Like,
don't think I folded to the 3-bet. I'm gonna find out. I think king
I
jack.
think you do.
Oh, I folded all over the place.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's got such shitty implied odds.
Yeah, so I have it less often. The question
Reverse implied odds.
is, the
Oh,
question is at
And
this,
if you almost never have it, the solver might not be raising.
all right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the order in which I should have lost this
All right,
money.
yeah, I've got it. We can look at the hand.
Yeah. You got it?
I guess it doesn't make, yeah, we'll just look at the flop. 'Cause it ends there. Okay. Let me set it up and then I'll share my
Yeah.
screen.
Okay. And then I will look.
Hijack raises, 3-bet, button 3-bets. Hijack calls. The diamond. All right. Hijack. Raises, big button, 3-bets. Here's our range that we are calling with. We're mixing tens against this late position. Well, I guess not that late, but we definitely have it in our calling range. I would imagine this really rocks in positions range. He's got a significant range advantage, and we're gonna split, not advantage. Okay, so you check. What size did he use? Small, right?
He went
Yep,
small.
he bet a third.
Okay, yeah, so his primary size is a third.
Checks more often than I thought.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I think it's because, well, he doesn't have queen jack. Should we look real quick and see something? Who has nuts here?
It was mixed.
Straight. Well, button, yeah, button has more nuts. Okay.
And a higher percentage of it.
And what is the percentage of straights? Just looking at the exact straights, I just wanted to know, because within the filtered range,
He, in position has the nuts more, and it's a larger part of his range.
Okay. Yes.
Not
Half.
very much, but you know.
half again as much. Yeah,
I guess maybe it's because he doesn't 3-bet 10s and 9s as at a very big frequency, so he doesn't have those nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, clear. Yeah, well, maybe it's because, like the nut advantage, like as Joey taught us, above 85%, once you get here, it becomes pretty even.
Yeah.
So that might be why. Bet small. You can mix. Your raise is fine. Did you go to more to 15 or 20?
I went to,
Put 3x, so yeah, was it like 18 something?
3x was closer to 15.
yeah, I went to 15.
Okay. I think he's supposed to call his kings here. I don't think that he's supposed to jam in your face. He's supposed to, he can min click, but yeah, we
Or
just don't
call.
shove.
Yeah.
But so, you know, this is not a play that he can do, but if he does do this, he clicks it in your face.
Woohoo! Lose all
Yeah,
the
you
money.
shove it. Yeah, you just, and that is the order in which you go broke.
Right.
It will answer if he shoves what we're calling with. If the button shoves.
Okay. So I don't know if he has shoves, but
But he did.
He doesn't have it in the range, but the solver will still give us the answer when he does shove.
And tens are not shook. Come on, not shook.
yeah, we're never folding.
100%. Tens are ecstatic.
Let's look at the EV.
And queen is there.
Well, can you do strategy plus EV real quick?
Sure.
Where's my 89 chips?
Yeah, tens are never folding.
Yeah, you
So
call-
does this match? Yeah, it's gonna match MDF. I would imagine. Yeah, so you're gonna just, yeah, you're just never folding this far up in range.
Dancing in the street.
Okay. There we go.
And I think my error on pre-flop, like folding 10s there, if you're in the low jack or earlier, then you can start folding 10s.
Yep, there's some folding of tens in the low jack. But unfortunately, I was in the hijack.
I'm not good at folding sets.
Or
no,
should you? I mean, it's
pre-flop.
coolers happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this isn't one where somebody made an egregious error to get stacked.
Oh, this is totally fine. This is like dancing in the street fine.
Thank you, guys. But if I had played king queen a little bit wrong, meaning going, oh, come on, you know your king queen is beat, I would be happier.
Nope. I'm thinking Vegas and the Mirage here.
But
you know.
Can you go back to pot odds?
I think on the flop,
flop?
I just call.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
If you just call on the flop, the one nice thing that happens is on this turn, the turn goes check, check.
I'm
Maybe.
not, yeah, and I'm not going to get pot committed with
Now I might not,
Or
yeah,
go straight, yeah.
a set of
before-
tens on a four liner.
What are
You
your pot
don't-
odds on flop? Real quick.
You just call here on the turn?
Okay,
on
thanks.
The
On the
flop?
flop.
Wow.
Yeah,
then you
because
curse yourself. You call on
he-
the flop and then you curse yourself when this card comes.
Max, it did it about 50% of the time.
Like, I jump in with both feet here.
That's what
Maybe
I
I'm
did.
doing it wrong.
So you even,
Oh,
so
no,
if
no,
he does have the straight, you've got the odds to call because you're like 39, 40% to boat up.
Yeah.
And pot odds are 37%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got that 110 for
And just so you know, when we say that the solver sometimes called, I thought it was less than 50%. I thought it was the majority was the raise, but unimportant. The solver was not telling you that a raise was wrong. The solver was happy with both.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yep. And let me tell you, if this hand was played in a casino instead of online in a place where we can see the hands, and you did that call, and then the jack comes on the turn, and you end up folding the river, because it's very likely that the turn's gonna go check, check. But when the river goes check, I think that gives him a license to bet his kings. And if he bets his kings and you fold to the four liner, you're gonna be telling people how dumb it was that you didn't check raise him.
after check, why is it not a consideration to bet like 25% on the river?
He might.
Yeah, that's
I'm-
what
I might do it, and I might bet 25%, and then he he just calls and I lose less money. Or I might check. I'm just saying, we don't know how the river goes, and I'm saying if we don't see his hand as kings, we talk about what idiot we were for not check raising the flop. That's the story we say in our heads. So
Well,
the
I
lesson
never,
from the solver
I never
was
tell that story. I don't tell that story to myself. It doesn't make sense.
good for you. I tell that story about you though, and so that's important to know. For all the people on the spectrum on this call, that was meant to be a joke. Because I think it is almost 50%. And we're gonna end with that hand. And good to see you guys next week. So tomorrow is normal. I'll see you tomorrow. And it will be an exciting time for me. You'll see why. And then next week, I'm not gonna be able to be there, but I'll be able to open the meeting. So for hands face up, anybody who's got face up hands from Ignition, we can do those. Mike, are you gonna be around with them?
What was your question, Scotty?
Next Monday. Next Monday, I've got shows.
Yeah, yep, I'll be here.
Okay,
Cool.
great.
So what do we want to do tomorrow?
Let me hit stop the recording.